It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. So the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. So the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, loud, loud. No one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. So the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, loud, loud. No one. All them a cheer, them a cheer.
All right, people, get in here, get in here, get in here. It ended at Chelsea 2, Ipswich Town 2. A game that we, in my opinion, we had no business losing. We should have won that game convincingly, except for nervy defending or lack of experience in our defensive line. The first goal, definitely Levi Cowell should have done much better there. They say goals make a difference. We started the game the better side, played better, created more chances than them, clear-cut chances. Nicholas Jackson hit the woodwork. The other one ballooned by Enzo Fernandez. There are a couple of chances we had. We seemed a bit maybe the pressure of knowing that we have to win this game to get back into top four got to the players due to lack of experience. But for me, I'm just going to say the same thing I said after our game against what's it called against why did I forget their name? Our last game. The only thing we didn't do today, take our chances and then make the usual mistake in the back line. The first goal, especially. The second one, I'm not sure who to start blaming it down, but the first one definitely shouldn't have been a goal, in my opinion. Levi Cowell should have done much, much better, but he was ball watching. You don't leave that sort of ball for the goalkeeper to deal with. If you get a chance, deal with it immediately. You don't take a chance. He took a chance, and lo and behold, we considered from that. The manager's setup wasn't the issue. I see a lot of people online arguing that the setup was the issue, and I said, no, it's not. The manager setup, you should recognize was the reason why we created the number of chances we created. We just didn't finish our meal, like Bobby would say. We just weren't clinical. Yes, we have issues. We have issues taking our chances, and then we have issues in our defensive line. But that's just my opinion anyway. Dante, let's get your opinion on the overall performance today. I'm pained that we didn't end up winning. I think we deserve to win this game, and the numbers say the same. We weren't just clinical. If anything, in my opinion, I don't think it makes sense to blame the manager in any way. The draw today, it feels like a loss, was not in any way his fault. The setup was fine. We dominated, but couldn't take our chances. Let me catch up with a few of what we have in the chat here, then I'll come get your opinion on what you make of the overall performance. Embarrassing it to Danny Music. Okay, if that's how you see it, enjoy it. Enzo Maresca needs to go. It's not his fault in any way. If anything, we've made improvement, but we don't have the personnel to execute. We're not potent in front of goal. Palmer looks like it would take a lot for him to regain his form. A big up to you too. We should have won it at the end. The goalkeeper made a very good saves, but our defense needs leaders. Hit the like button and subscribe. Nice to see you again, Leighton. Yep, thank you for understanding. In my opinion, look, this game shouldn't have been a draw. Had we defended the way we should, which I don't blame on the manager, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. Of course you are. If you say the loss was the manager's fault. And you actually said we will lose. It is safe to come out from behind the sofa yet. You can come out. Don't hide. Not top four. We're still there, and I think we'll finish there. We'll finish in the top five. Whether fourth, fifth, it could still be third, actually. Honestly, even if we qualify, we don't deserve UEFA Champions League. What are we going to do against PSG side? Football doesn't work like that. Summer will come, we'll make changes to fortify the team, and I think we'll be a lot better going into next season. The signs are good. The manager is doing his job. I don't subscribe to the notion that he's the reason why we're struggling. No, if anything, he's found a way to make sure that the issues we're having isn't as depth as the issues we had last season and last 2 seasons. But that's my opinion anyway. He says, I swear I have no anger in me right now. Weird feeling, but Gusto should kick rocks, to be honest. I don't blame him, but let's go on. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't even care about Chelsea. Okay, good to hear. Let's see. Ipswich is 18th with the lap on the bench. They took 4 points off of us. We're finished. Football doesn't work like that. Yeah, well, so let's just. It feels like a loss because yeah, we played well enough to win. That was our first team, by the way. Yeah. Okay, if that's what you want to. Metastatic. That's Chicken Met. Greg, nice to see you in one. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. And Chicken Met believes that Maresca isn't a coach. Chelsea, whatever you say there, you read it yourself. Do you think Chelsea? Yeah, I think so. I'm confident we will. Honestly. Let's see. Ipswich had a better Palmer than us. Their goalkeeper, I think you could argue. Our Palmer is still not available in person right now, and the Chelsea run in from now is going to be challenging. I'm not concerned. I still believe we'll finish in the top 4. Red Devil Studio, nice to see you. Stop doing this. He says, cannot see this Chelsea team beating Fulham for us. I think we can beat them. The only thing we didn't do today is take our chances and made mistakes at the back. We didn't play badly, really. Football doesn't work. Yeah, it's simple. It's not 1+1. You don't always get 2. And Liverpool, Everton, and United at home. Okay, does that says definitely we're losing that game? Let's see. I think the lads gave it. Give me the okay, Dante. Let's hear your opinion on the overall performance. So for me, we had no business losing that game. We started well and dominated early part. The game had good chances that had we put away, I think we'd be discussing a different outcome right now. And I don't think it makes sense to blame the manager, in my opinion. But let's hear you, Dante.
Yeah, coach. Bobby and Bamfordino's on as well, I see.
Mm.
Yeah, look, very disappointing not to get the win. I think we deserved the win overall. I think we had 34 shots and 9 on target. So yeah, look, we
An
created
XG
a
of
sense of
2.14, and theirs is just
yeah,
1.14. So they're just more clinical than us. So
yeah, especially the first
they
half.
outperformed their XG. For us, you could argue, yeah, the same thing anyway. But go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, look, started the game very well. Setup was really good. Positive start first, 25, 30 minutes all over them. Should have probably been 2-0 up by Nico hitting the post. That would have changed the game quite a lot early on. That should have been a goal. That was not a good finish by him, unfortunately. That's pretty much it. He didn't do anything else in the game, and I knew that's going to happen once they scored and sat back and parked the bus. Basically, Nico's not going to be involved in the game as much, and that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. So that pretty much took him out of the game after that. Disappointing, very disappointing defending. Colwell, I don't know what that guy does sometimes.
That
He's
first
just
goal shouldn't be a goal. It
we had 3
shouldn't.
defenders there against 2
Yeah,
of their attackers. It
but
was
here's the
between
thing.
Tosin and Colwell.
Yeah,
Colwell
here's the
just
thing.
needed to go in, take the front position, and that's it. There was
He
no
was
cross.
ahead of the Ipswich guy. So
Exactly. Yeah.
the ball wasn't there wasn't so much pace on the ball. There was no so much pace on the ball. He could have stopped it, but he was watching and waiting for his goalkeeper to get it. You don't take that risk. If you're the first person available to deal with such
Yeah.
situation, do it. Don't wait for your goalkeeper to be the one to deal with it. It's really that simple. But he was watching it and was waiting for his goalkeeper to come out and stop. No, you don't do that. You were ahead of the guy. Stop it. But sorry, go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah. And worse, Tosin behind him in between. And I can see Tosin yelling, talking something to Colwell. I think cover. So he knew he's got cover. So all he needed to do was take position and block the ball. But he decided to take his eye off the. I don't know what he was doing, and that's been his problem all season. He's not. He hasn't got that footballing IQ when it comes to those moments. He hasn't got that defensive instinct. He looks good and stuff when he plays the ball and plays the ball out, and put sometimes some hard challenges in. But when it comes to IQ, when you're in a tight position and you need your positioning to be number one, he's way off. He's completely off that, and that's been the whole season a big problem, unfortunately.
I know you've heard
Um,
me say this 1,000 times. I don't trust him in terms of his ability to read the game.
yeah,
That's it.
horrible. Yeah,
Yeah. So if
and that
he
for a
reads the game
defender,
very
that's
well, that
like
first
that.
goal shouldn't be a goal. You
No, no,
should be very aware of your surroundings, knowing that there's an Ipswich player waiting for the ball, but he let it go and was opening his arms, waiting for Sanchez to come. No, defending 101. If you're the
yes.
first person close to the situation, deal with it. Don't leave it for anyone else. It's a risk. But go ahead with what you were saying so that we can get Bobby's opinion too soon.
And like I said, Tossin was yelling at him, telling him that he's there. It's fine. It's cover, cover. I'm pretty sure he was yelling from what I can see from it, if that's what he was saying. But which just basically means he's got cover. He doesn't need to. He just needs to block the ball, get in front of the defender, and block the ball. Basically, the defender's covered because Tossin had him pretty much covered. But yeah, unfortunately, he didn't look at all. And yeah, it is what it is. We move on anyway. The other goal as well. Again, the only time we took a goal kick long, we decided to go long. And what did I say in the pregame? How they scored their 2 goals against us when they played exactly that same manner. We went, but look, this time we didn't do it. So credit Maresca, we changed the game plan
It
completely.
nearly happened. There was one that Chalobah tried to use his head to
Yeah.
pass it back to. He does that all the time, and has led him
Chalobah had a
making a
bad game
mistake.
as
Yeah,
well.
and the ball was slow. Actually, had he been pressed effectively, chances are an Ipswich player would get to the ball. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, anyway, that was the only time we went long from a goal kick. And I said, we cannot do that. They will win the aerial and they'll get the ball. And we're out of position because the way they're pushing up. And that's exactly what happened. And they scored. Bad defending from Chalobah as well, a little bit there. Colwell, again, not being aware of the situation, out of position. Tossing a little bit as well. It wasn't very good organized at the back at all. So yeah, should never concede a goal like that. So that's another one. Other than that, going forward, we were all over them. We're killing them. We had so many shots on target. Should have been
It's just that
2-0.
it's a shameless less to say we dominated the game because we didn't win.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
honesty, we had
Statistically, we
no
dominated the
business
game, though.
losing this game. But go ahead
Yeah,
with what you were saying.
statistically, we completely dominated that game, most of the
Yeah.
game. So 75% possession, 34 shots, 9 on target. That's a pretty dominant performance statistically. So, and in any other
Even
day,
beyond possession, I know possession will always you stare an argument. The XG, total shots, and all those things. For me, I'm going to say this, then catch up with what we have, then go to Bobby as soon as possible. This highlights what we need to do in the summer.
yeah,
In all honesty,
100%.
yeah. If you don't
100%
mind, let me.
highlights.
Yeah, go ahead. If you were still speaking,
Let
let
me
me
just
catch up
finish
so
on
that we'll go
the.
to Bobby.
Let me just finish with
Okay.
that one.
Mhm.
Look, the one big positive I do still take from the game being 2-0 down, coming out in the second half, and putting a very good performance, I think, in the second half to come back. That's a huge positive for me. They didn't put their heads down. They played hard. They kept playing. They were running around, putting a lot of energy into it, all over the pitch, trying to make tackles. Everyone bought in and went hard for that comeback, which is good, especially for a young team. That's a very good sign to see, and that just tells you that they believe in Enzo Maresca. There's no problems like a lot of people are saying. They don't like Enzo Maresca or they're not playing them. No, well, you can see that second half to come back for a young team like that, the way they did, and really should have won comfortably in the end because there's four chances the last 15 minutes. Their goalkeeper completely, man of the match, their goalkeeper, by the way, completely saved them. So look, that is a positive. Very bad that we didn't win because we need the points, but it's still not doom and gloom. We're still in it. But yeah, that's a positive for
This
me.
is that sort of game that feels like a loss, not because we played badly.
Correct. Yeah, it feels like a loss. It is a loss because we lost 2 points, so it is a loss. So yeah, it is
All
what
right.
it is.
Let me catch up so we come to Bobby as soon as possible. What happened? I thought, yeah, we have no option than to trust the process. What else can we do? And for me, I see progress. That's just my opinion. People see regression, but I see progress. That's me. And we do see things differently. And Glenn, nice to see you, bro. What process? It's a regression. If that's how you see
Yeah.
it, you have every right. For me, I'm
Sorry,
seeing
Glenn. Big up,
I,
bro.
I've
But
seen
I
a lot of
don't
progress
agree.
from what we experienced last season, and the signs are good. I think next season will be a lot better, and we're still finishing the top four. We're still there. This loss down to our personnel, lack of experience in our defensive line. That first goal made a huge difference, and we'll look at the numbers in a bit to see what the numbers tell us. I'm not the one. I'm not the sort of person to just, you can say, follow the crowd because he brings the clicks and all that. No, I try to be as objective as possible, and that's how we roll here, and that's how I roll. Being honest doesn't hurt. I can't just start blaming the manager because we lost. Or yeah, there's an issue. The game highlights where our problems lie. We need a favor from United. Good luck with your life. If you want to bet your life on that, good luck. Coach, I don't think even you can defend regimes coming on in the 58th minute versus Warsaw last Thursday, only for us to see an average Gusto coming for us. A crazy decision making. I wouldn't call it that because we don't know whether regimes is even fully fit. We don't know. In all honesty, we don't know. So let's be careful. You're not following the script. Just leave me the heck alone. I am being sarcastic and toxic positive. Don't worry, bro. You know I love you and I understand how you roll. Bobby, let's hear you. Your thoughts on the overall performance today. Again, I'm gonna state my opinion. It wasn't a bad performance. We didn't just finish our dinner, and again ended up making mistakes. One more importantly, that first goal shouldn't have been a goal, and but a goal can make a whole lot of difference in a football match. But Bobby, let's hear you.
Yeah, big up, guys.
Big up, my bro.
Sometimes it's good to hear other people speak because I was very angry at this game.
You
He's
think I know?
I will
a bit
echo
too hard, Bobby.
You think I
your
know,
words.
Bobby?
Yeah, I know you know me. You know me well. I'll echo your words. We had no business drawing this game, none whatsoever. Um, and yes, the one thing you've said again, coach, which kind of cooled me down, was that this shows that we have a personnel issue. And by that, I mean there are some players there that are not good enough, some positions that definitely need filling. I mean, how many times do we have games and we turn around and keep saying time and time and time and time and time again that we missed our chances? It's no longer acceptable. This is a run into the season. And who's put Newcastle goal? Are they playing now? I thought they're playing tomorrow.
No, they're playing
Newcastle.
today, but it hasn't
Oh,
started. It hasn't started. I don't think it
yeah.
has started.
Anyway, well, we can't really look at that game because they're one of the form teams, and so is Man City
That's
at
just
the
in
moment.
Gusto's head. He's
You know,
dreaming already.
the thing that is so glaring to me is, yes, there is a measure of Maresca in this. This idea of this slow passing and that it's predictable. This is the Premier League. It's breakneck next speed. You've got to move the ball quicker, and this stupidity wanting to dribble into the net, where there's a sea of bodies in front of you. You have to shoot from outside the box, and when we did do it with Sancho, you saw what happened. We took a couple, they came close, or the goalkeeper caught it because they were weak, like the player that took it. But when it was hit properly, it was top bins. We have to be doing this with these low blocking teams. Seriously, the performance was not good enough. We have to say that. How many times do we have it that it just seems that when these players are rested, they go into the next game with no energy? They should have been running like crazy in this game. Those key players didn't play. Your Enzos and Caicedos and Palmers and even Jackson's, they didn't play midweek. So they had more than a week to rest. There's just no excuse for this draw, really. And I hope it doesn't cost us. Another thing that's giving me some real concern now is I hope Cole Palmer isn't another one of our great English hopes. You know, the great English flop, as we get so many of them. They shine and they flatter to deceive, and then eventually they start to regress. I pray he's not one of those players because I was not impressed with his performance at all. There are a few little flicks here and there, but he was part of the weakness of the side in terms of weak physicality, getting bulldozed off the ball and that sort of thing. And another thing that gave me great distress is we have a set piece coach. And yet again, whether it's physicality or a mixture of both physicality and inefficiency, every single set piece met an Ipswich head first before it came anywhere near a Chelsea player. Um, we were not good at set pieces at all. Yet again, I don't know where this leaves us. I don't think it's a good result at all.
No,
I
it's
don't
not. It
at
feels
all.
like a loss.
It does feel like a loss, and
Yeah.
it is a loss, as Dante said. We lost 2 points. We shouldn't have had to come back from behind like that. And I'm not going to praise them for oh, they came back from 2-0 down. Nah. One, they shouldn't have been 2-0 down in the first place. Two, they should have been 2-0 up before they ever went 2-0 down. And Levi Colwell, another one. I hope he's not another one of our great English hopes that end up being, nothing. Because what he did and what he keeps doing in terms of his defensive play is becoming a matter of concern. He's not that. He's young, but he's experienced. And the way he was ball watching, I blame Cucurella for that first goal slightly less than him, although Cucurella was just running with the player rather than engaging the player. And he did enough to put him off. And when the ball was crossed, Cole was just watching the ball. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's bad stuff, bad stuff. And I don't know, we are not a club to accept this sort of thing. We are one of the big boys. The mere fact that this club was able to reinvest 1.5 billion into the playing staff to rebuild the team should tell you that we should be getting better performances than this.
Here's the thing, Bobby. I don't think the draw was for lack of effort. It was. I think we see the best of these players, except for Cole Palmer, who's out of form. One thing is certain: we have issues, and I'm going to go back to saying what I've already said. This highlights the issues we have and what we need to do in the summer to address the issues we have. We need wingers that can put away chances, and then we need a number nine too. Defensively, we need leadership. If we continue with Colwell until he matures, we're still seeing such inability to read game properly because of lack of experience. The basics of defending, you don't let such ball. You don't leave it for the next man to deal with it. Deal with it if you can. There wasn't actually enough pace, a lot of pace on the ball.
No, no,
There
there wasn't.
wasn't. He was just waiting for Sanchez to be the one to deal with it. You don't do that. That's a primary school level defending. Let me catch up with what we have, and I'm going to
Mm,
go to
Just
Banfordinho. And
just
something
before
else.
you
Yeah,
do,
go
I
ahead.
mean, you just mentioned the name I was trying to avoid mentioning. Sanchez. Anytime he touches the ball, you're filled with anxiety.
Yeah,
I think it's quite blatantly clear that either we bring back what's the guy we sent to Strasbourg, either we bring him back, and it's left to be seen whether he'll really be what we need. But I tell you what, he'll certainly be better than Sanchez, and has proved that already. Sanchez is a poor goalkeeper, and is another very mistake-prone individual.
yeah. Unfortunately, and in my opinion, Bobby, I respectfully disagree. The draw wasn't for lack of effort. In my opinion, it was just the immaturity in our players. Just in according to your sources, the owners were happy with our fight back, but we do need UEFA Champions League football. I think it's still there. We can still get it, and I'm confident we will finish in the top five. It could be end up being top three because I strongly believe that Nottingham Forest they would drop out of there. Moses Caicedo didn't get a yellow card, so he can play the next
Tell
six
you what,
games.
coach, the
Ooh,
way
some
we
good news.
play
Yeah.
and the weakness in the team will struggle against Nottingham Forest and Everton. They're bully boys in that team. Can you imagine? They'll have a field day. Yeah, we're way short of those two.
Mhm. Uh, move that. Just leave me alone, please. What else do we have here? Quickly, because yeah, coach. Let's be real. Anyone can manage a prime Chelsea. Grant in the UEFA Champions League, Di Matteo in the UEFA Champions League, but to ask a championship level manager to get us out of the predicament that we are in is almost unfair. I think that's just you being you. Remember we started having squad issues under Thomas Tuchel after winning the Champions League. Actually, with the same squad that won the Champions League, we started having issues. So we have deficiencies that we need to deal with. And I'm going to say this: there's a way I see football. I look beyond results to see. Honestly, we're making progress. And don't tell me that had Jackson taken his chance, and I think Cole Palmer had one, Enzo Fernandez had one, and we won this game, I think a lot of people wouldn't be speaking negatively about the game.
If
But
we were,
I do
if we
look
scored and
at
then
game
zero
beyond
down.
result. Even when we win, I still look at game and say, this is where we need to improve. We did poorly here. Forget that we win. Or forget that we won. That's who I am. But unfortunately, it's a result driven business and people see things differently. And that's okay by me. I don't see people saying we're regressing and blaming the manager for the loss today. No. What this highlighted is that, yeah, we need recruitment, proper recruitment in the summer and to address the issues we have. I don't think it makes sense to blame the manager for whatever that has happened today. I can answer that. Moses Caicedo feared the yellow card and now doesn't have to worry. I think he did well, in my opinion. That's good for us. I said piece today wasn't good enough. Yeah, it wasn't. Chaloba had how did that not go in? I can't quite remember. Guess who hasn't scored for exactly 3 months? Who exactly? Man United should help us. I'm not gonna bet my life on United helping us. Why bench Reece James in the okay? Do you know why? I don't know why. I don't know honestly, and I'm gonna go back to saying we don't know if he's 100% fit. Chelsea boy coach, I was watching the game and it looked like a championship playoff, and I can say that's because the defending was atrocious. We have issues defensively. That first goal shouldn't have been a goal, and that's my opinion. Banfordino, let's hear your opinion on the game.
Yes, sir. I feel like our football team is gradually, rebranding itself to be like an ordinary team. And I just
Hmm.
want to disagree with you. Mostly we agree on stuff, but I just want to disagree with you that we are improving. I feel like we are still trying to sustain our performance, and things are not going the way some of us feel like it has to go. If you look at the amount of money that we've spent and the transition that we are trying to make this team look so better, it hasn't been so good. I would say that for the past 3 years, we have been struggling. And the question is why? Why should we be struggling? And I feel like the mentality of our players, I don't know whether it has to do with the environment or it has to do with the technical ability or whatever. It seems like they are contempt and they don't want to fight. Because if you really miss Champions League football and you want to qualify for next year's Champions League, these are some of the matches you have to prove your ability or you have to prove your dominance in the English game. But look at the goals that we conceded. Any bigger club or the players within a bigger club will never allow themselves that way. Ipswich game should have been something that we should have completed with 3 points. But look at the way we approach the game. And I like Maresca very well, but I think going into this game, he made some few mistake that I think.
Why did we lose this game today? That's what I want to hear from you.
Well, if
Objectively speaking, why did we lose today? Was it for lack of effort? Was it for lack
No,
of
we
chances? Because the
didn't
numbers
lose.
like
say,
I don't
yeah, go
see
ahead.
any sense of agency within our playing body. Like everybody was a bit relaxed. They don't even care about winning this game. If they wanted to win this game, we could have gotten the 3 points. But approach, for instance, wasn't good enough because if you play Chaloba, this Nigerian guy, this Niger what Torsen and Cowell, and you take out Malo Gusto because I thought he could have brought Malo Gusto in the first half because when he came in, Madueke was doing a lot. And these changes really caused the game because if you want to get the 3 points and win awesomely, you need to start with attacking minded football. And the players were just relaxed. They just blew it off. And I think this is going to affect us. I don't see how we are going to get into the Champions League football, especially with Man City gradually coming up. And I have to say that we started with Liverpool. There was transition going on with Liverpool. They brought in some new players. We started with Arsenal when they came to Florida and wallop us. They started building the team. That's when they were standing on their feet. And we are still struggling. We are hanging it out there. Last season, we were able to place fifth, and I expect them to place at least third or second. I wouldn't accept anything below the fourth position. And this shows you that there are so many things we have to do as a football club. I just don't want to attack anybody, but everybody should come on board. They have to realize the mistake that we have been doing that makes us so like ordinary team. This is not the Chelsea Football Club I know for some time now. And if we want to see something better, we should be doing the right thing. You don't want to lose to Ipswich, somebody who is third from the bottom, and you want to go to Champions League football. It doesn't work that way. And
So
we have been talking about some improvement in other areas. Nobody is trying to
By the way, we
correct
didn't
that. And
lose.
it's a big problem
Keep saying
because
so,
lose.
if you
We
have
didn't
a
sorry,
team
lose.
Bobby,
like
what did you
Chelsea
say?
and you don't have any
I said,
attacking
by the way, we didn't
player
lose. He
with
keeps
high profile,
saying lose. We
Yeah.
didn't lose.
should I
Yep,
say
we didn't lose,
status,
guys.
and we are playing like that, it doesn't help the team. So I feel like everybody have to come on board. The boys need to show up when the game is very important. They are just relaxing, and the mentality is so bad as compared to any Chelsea team I've witnessed over the years. And there is something we have to do as a football club. We need to clear, like we need to do some clear out and make sure we bring in the right players. And I heard Bobby talking about inexperienced players, or maybe you. It seems like we have a whole lot of talented football players without any mentors. That is why I was of the opinion that we could have brought in some experienced players within all the areas of our game. Like you can get an experienced midfielder, an experienced attacker, an experienced defender. Let them guide these boys because they are out there. There is no leader, there is nothing. And every time we go into a game, and it will happen like that. So this football club need to sit up, and I believe they have to work so hard in order to get a Champions League football next season. Other than that, I think it's over because if you have Man City, you have Newcastle who have like 2 games. You also have Aston Villa. They are all doing very good, and we are retrogressing when the season is wrapping up. And it's rather unfortunate. I have to be honest with you. There is no way, unless Arsenal are able to win the Champions League and the fifth position get the opportunity to go to Champions League. Other than that, I think it's over. We might not qualify to the Champions
All
League.
right, but let me ask you this
So,
finally
sorry,
before,
coach.
before I move on.
I really
Go
have
ahead.
to say he's made two errors here.
Yeah,
Bless him.
if this already
First of
qualifies.
all, first of all, we didn't lose today. You know, I'm upset that we drew. You know, losing doesn't come into it. And secondly, fifth place is going to the Champions League. You know, it's because of the coefficient of the fact that the English sides. I think there's three of us in the quarterfinals this year, so we will have the top five going to the Champions League.
And we're still
Definitely.
in the Champions League race, and we're not out of it, like you said.
Yeah, we are still
No,
in
no,
the
no. But
race.
like you have Aston Villa, you have Newcastle, and right now they are all having like close points with Chelsea. So if we continue to be dropping points, obviously we can end up in the seventh position. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
but the
trying to say.
season's not
Because
finished, and you can't say we're out of the Champions League spot.
no,
That
but
we're
the
not,
season
we
is
haven't
not
made
finished.
it
But we
because
have to create
the season
awareness
hasn't
that
finished.
the season is not finished. I know that, but we need to create
But let me
awareness.
ask
We
let
need,
me ask you this because we have other people
yeah, sure,
waiting, and man, I have to go to church today and ask God for forgiveness. But Banfordinho, you saying the setup was the issue?
yeah.
Okay, let's look at
To
the
me,
numbers. That same setup. Forget about possession. I don't care about possession. We finished the game with an XG of 2.14. They finished with 1.14. Total shots, 34 in total. That's 13. Big chances, 4. Big chances on their end is 3. Here's the thing. We started the game very well and we dominated the game, but it's shamelessness to say, to even mention that we dominated the game because we didn't win. They were just more clinical than us. We had good chances. Their goalkeeper was also brilliant today. In the
I do
first, I
get
don't
that.
know what time was it. It was
What,
in the game
It was
Coach
the
that
man
Ilam,
of the match.
what if
I'm
I
coming
know
just one second.
I
That
know they
Nicholas
are.
Jackson hit the woodwork. The other one, Enzo Fernandez had the chance. Balloon did. I think Kopama had the chance also, and Balloon did. My point is this: I
Alabas
don't
chance.
think it'd be fair to blame the manager for the setup. The setup was never the issue today. The setup worked. We weren't just potent. We weren't just taking our chances. That's just my opinion. But go ahead. Let's hear you
Yeah,
so we catch up with what we
let
have and hear from someone else.
yeah. If you look at like the second half of the game, if that would have been the first half, I believe would have been two goals up, and it would be very difficult for Ipswich to catch up. So when I'm saying that we approach the game with a different mentality, these are some of the issues. Well, Sancho was very efficient when he came in the second half. Why was he on the bench? Because if you are playing with Ipswich, you can just parade all the
Okay,
strongest team.
just quickly. In
Mhm.
the first half, how many goal scoring chances we had? About 3 clear cut goal scoring chances.
We had like 10 shots in the
Had those
first.
gone in, I don't think he would also be complaining who started in the first half. It's just a game. The manager read it, understood he needed to make a change, made the change, and the change brought us a goal. I can't just
Honestly, I
because
don't
of
have
that
any
and
issue with
say that the
Maresca.
person that scored the goal should have started. But go ahead, Van, for
Everybody
my
who
brother.
knows
Go ahead.
me, everybody who knows me knows that this coach is somebody I really like, and I will never say that he is the problem at Chelsea Football Club. But there are certain days you can just kill the game for our football team, because I feel like if we had paraded the second half squad to represent the first half, we could have been up by maybe 2 3 goals,
We're
and the
speaking in
game would have
hindsight
been
now, bro.
over. You understand? But
Yes.
there's a situation we were going into the game. We keep pressing, we kept pressing, and they caught us on the counter. They knew what they were going to do. That's why Bobby was saying that these guys were unable to shoot because they were packed in the 18. So you need somebody who can shoot from outside the box. And Sancho is somebody who is very good at it. I thought Pedro Neto could have done that. He also failed to do that, because if you have somebody like Madueke getting into the box all the time, there is no way you can just get a goal from any of the chances. So I feel
And,
like the beginning was a
just
problem.
quickly, Banfo, if you don't mind, let me catch up what we have in the chat and bring on Max.
Sure.
And once again, I need to go to church. Please don't be annoyed, bro.
No, 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 no.
Um,
I'm
uh,
okay.
okay,
Let
thank
other
you.
people
I
talk.
appreciate that.
Thanks a lot.
Coach, where is the confidence coming from? Jackson stopped scoring long before his injury, and Maresca has made Cole Palmer worse. There's absolutely no evidence to suggest we are getting Champions League football. The latter part of your comment is a different argument altogether. But let's pay attention. He didn't make Cole Palmer bad. Cole Palmer has lost confidence. How many chances had he been as clinical as he was last season? He'd have nearly 20 goals now. So I think we speak in hindsight, and I don't think it's fair to blame the manager for this game. We did everything right, but take all our chances. And had we done that from the first half, we'd be discussing a different outcome. And unfortunately, something I've learned about the average football fan is that they understand three languages: win, draw, lose. And they judge games based on, again, one of the three, and not minding how the team played. And as I've said before, it would be shameless to say we played well. I'll just leave it at we didn't deserve. We deserve to. I'll just leave it at we deserve to win this game. And I don't blame I'm not going to blame the setup. And I've heard a lot of people argue that Maresca is one-dimensional. In my opinion, he's not, except if you're not paying attention. There are basics to his approach. And because those basics are constant, people see it every game. They believe that that's it. That's how we operate. And the other day, after the first half, the game was 0-0. Nini lost it. It was against Legia Warsaw. Nini Blue Lions TV lost it. Started complaining how nobody was making runs in behind, because people in most cases watch games with emotions running high, and in most cases and cannot be critical with their you can say comments with regards to the game. So I don't think it's sensible to argue that Maresca ruined the players. No, Cole Palmer lost form. I've seen him missed chances that last season he put it away and started celebrating like he usually does. Was that Maresca's fault? No. He's had the opportunity to score a lot more goals than he scored last season by this time. So, but that's just my opinion anyway. And thank you for that comment there. Tosin should have stayed on Chalobah. Isn't ready for the Chelsea level. Let's see who wants to go into the Champions League. I think European football is different, really, and you know that. Guys, Ipswich broke a very good Bournemouth side. Remember that guy, and this is a young team, but it did show mentality. But yes, I am not happy. It feels like a loss, in my opinion. But let's hear from let's read one comment from DJ, and we hear from Max. Big up everyone that you have two right backs on the bench, and Maresca plays a centre back because the application is a back three. The application was a back three. We didn't play. We didn't play in a traditional back four. When Ipswich beat us in December, he done the same thing. Why is he not learning? I don't think it was the same game as that December game. But Max, big up to you and welcome. But DJ, nice to see you, Max. Let's hear your opinion on the
Good.
overall performance, and why did you think we lost this game? And do you agree with this guy in the chat that I don't like, the Bluetooth game, who says that Maresca is the reason Palmer and Jackson are struggling? But let's hear you, Max. Thank you. It's been
Good
a while, brother.
afternoon.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Greetings.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, long time.
Big up,
I've
Matt.
been having a busy schedule. I've been listening to you in the background sometimes, but I haven't been able to get on. I want to take on Dante about home support a bit later, but we'll save that after.
You guys scheduled the fight?
No, I was listening. I wanted to come on the other day when he was talking about the support, but I'll talk about that later. So, with regards to the match today, first of all, I lost faith. I'm usually one of the most positive people on here, and I see things. I try to see both sides of the argument. I lost faith in the actual sporting director. I was giving them a chance. They've had 4 windows now, and I gave them the 4 windows that they wanted, and they still haven't built a squad, I don't think, which is good enough to get us challenging for top 4, even let alone the title. I lost it in January when they didn't strengthen by not getting in an attacker and a goalkeeper. We were second in the league, and from that position, we should have pressed on and got the players that we needed to carry us over the line. People like Nicholas Jackson, Cole Palmer, they've been overplayed. These guys are tired. And I don't think Jackson's the answer anyway. I think he's a good player.
No, he's not, clearly.
Him, but what we saw again today with him, that when he had a shot at the near post, he should have scored, but it's one issue at the post. He's not reactionary enough when it comes to making movements in the box, and so for me, there's an issue there. But we should have. I don't say we should have gone out and bought our number 1 target, because that's difficult to get in January. But even just a bit of help up front, yeah. So that's my take on things which has happened just before this game. So it's a culmination of everything. But as far as today's game goes, sorry, coach, I'm going to disagree with you and agree with some of the other people in the chat
Mhm.
because
No, you don't have to say
I
sorry.
think, I think,
Disagreement means we're thinking
yeah,
critically,
yeah, I think Maresca
and
was.
you know me, Max. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think Maresca was at fault in this game. I think the reason I say he was at fault, listen, he was spending too much time looking at the opposition than looking at our strengths and what we can do. If I could understand if we were playing like a Man City or a Liverpool or an Arsenal, where we are wary of them, but we're playing a team who are in the bottom three. So why are we worrying about Delap? That's why he played a free. He was looking for physicality up there. That's why he played Shalabar as a right back when we had two, as DJ said in the chat, we had two right backs on the bench, but he's playing. He's put in Shalabar to play at the back, and that was because, as I said, he was more concerned about the Ipswich going forward than he was looking at us. So, we should be. We're the
You do
team.
know that the application was a back three, right?
Yeah, it was a back three, but why are we
Okay.
playing a back three against Ipswich? We need a win. We need to win. Why are we worried about them? We play. We should look to go and attack a team like Ipswich. Ipswich are there for the taking. They've I can't remember how many points they've got away from home. The only win they've got at home this season was against us, and we've picked up 1 point against this Ipswich side in two matches, and I think that we should have gone with one of our proper right-sided defenders. I don't know what's happening with Reece James. I can't comment on that. Maybe he's protecting him. I don't know if he can. He played on Thursday a bit, so I don't know whether he can't manage another game. But he was waxing lyrical for the young boy, who I think is an excellent player, Achimpong, but why doesn't he have faith in playing Hachampong then? If he wanted to, he's a player who's naturally fitted to play as a right-sided centre back, and he can transition into a right back. So I'd have even preferred him making that brave decision if that's what he wanted to do. But yeah, because for me, Tosin, don't rate Tosin. I'm sorry, and Shalab, both when Tosin and
Max, why are you breaking my heart? He's a Nigerian bro.
he does too reactive. He doesn't. He doesn't. The guy does not read the game properly. Him and Colwell. That goal that they scored. How many times do they not react? They do this time and time again. The
But Colwell was the one that he was
both
the
of them. No,
outer
sorry,
player
yeah.
there. He
I
was the
think both
first. Go
both
ahead,
of
but
them
go ahead.
failed to
Sorry, I
react.
apologize, Matt.
In my opinion, both of them failed to react, and I've seen that too often with those guys. I said I got a bit of sympathy for Maresco in that the players that we have at the moment are not good enough to play in this team. Some of them are out of their depth, but even. The substitution as well when we were 2-2. Why is he bringing on Nkuku when he quite clearly does not want to play for us?
I would have rather Josh.
That's what I was saying. You put on George. You put on Tyreek
Josh,
George.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have put Tyreek George on. If you're taking off Jackson, you put on Tyreek George, because at least he runs in behind. He's showing a willingness to press and whatever. Once he made that substitution, I thought we're not going to win the game. Okay, we did enough to win the game in the second half, but the damage was done in the first half, and that's because of the selection. And I heard you as well talking about how he's changed games in the second half. The reason he's changed games in the second half is correcting his mistakes from the first half. The two games that we played, and the last two games we played against Brentford, the starting lineup wasn't up to scratch. The game we played against Legia Warsaw, the starting lineup was shocking. And so, all he did was, if he started the team and set the team out to how we were meant to play in the first half, then we wouldn't have had to make changes in the second half to correct those mistakes. And the last point I want to make is that in the second half of games, in the last couple of games, what I've seen is that we've come out and played with a lot more purpose. This slow build up, isn't it? Especially against low blocks. We were slow in ponderous, backward, sideways passing, especially in the European game the other day. When we started moving the ball a bit quicker, at the beginning of the second half. That's the way you break down these low blocks. But we are, and when you got the manager saying, "Oh, if Enzo passes the ball forward and makes these risky passes, he knows that I'll sub him." Come on now,
I think that's just him deflecting
yeah,
from
I know,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it is we this sort of build up is, if you look at PSG, they've done a rebuild in a lot shorter time than we have. They've got in the right players that they need. But if you look at their play, they play sort of possession, but it's more all their thing is to look forward, tick attacker. They play vertical passes, quick passes, but we always try to recycle the ball and play, playing it sideways, backwards, and everything. And we are so predictable. We just get the ball to the byline and spam crosses into nobody, and that's what we've been doing.
Why we don't have when we don't have a point man?
When we don't have a point man, that's all we're
Yeah.
doing. We're going to the byline, spamming crosses. There's no, there is no solutions there at all, and it's just frustrating to
Yeah.
watch.
One more thing, Max. There's something I wanted to show on the screen, and I want to get your opinion on that too. I want to address the comment from this guy on the screen, not Lucilla. Lucilla, just 1 second. Hi, guys. Very disappointed. Maresca is poor. He cannot develop any player. The only reason he was hired is because he's good at saying yes to the owners. Wow. Okay. If that's how you feel, good. Let me hear your thoughts. Do you
Uh,
agree with this, my bro, who says that Maresca is the reason Cole Palmer is struggling in the Bluetooth game? I don't like the guy, by the way, but he's still a brother anyway.
yeah,
That's the brother you
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Go ahead.
You know what? In a way, it could be down to that, because if you look at his position where he's playing him in the left half space at the moment. Cole Palmer last season was playing on the right as a right winger or more towards the right, and that's where he was getting a lot of joy. This year, whenever he plays him more towards the left, it doesn't work, in my opinion. And when goals dry up and you're out of form, then it's hard to get back into that form again. I think what we could have done some games is put him where he's more comfortable on the right. And I think if we had played him on the right, maybe sometimes put Nkuku in his proper position, which was behind the striker.
Okay,
Had we tried
but can
that
I make a
when
point,
things weren't
Max?
working, had we tried that when things weren't working,
Can I
then
make a
things would be
point
different. Yeah.
quickly, Max? Um, I understand the assumption is that he's better off deployed on the flanks and not as a 10, right? But if you look at the ratio of chances, opportunities he's gotten to score, had he been clinical as he was last season, he'd have a lot more goals than he had last season. So for me, it's his form. I
It's,
don't think
it's a
I don't think it's fair
confidence.
to blame the manager on his form, because we've
No,
seen him, the sort of chances that he put away with ease last season. We've seen him just fluff it. And you could see even penalty kick, he couldn't put it away. I don't think it's fair to say, because if we're saying it's the manager's fault, then the manager is the reason why he even missed a penalty. If you get my point. But go ahead with what you
No,
were saying,
but
bro.
sometimes it's a confidence thing. Okay, so as a manager, what you do, you either take your player out of the firing line when they're not confident, or you give them that pep talk that they need. Okay, this season, what's happened under Maresca at the beginning of the season, we looked good. Teams then find a way. It was similar to when we had Sarri in charge. Teams found a way, and you nullify Jorginho, and once you nullified Jorginho, you took a lot of the attack and the threat out of Chelsea. So they know you nullify Palmer, you put someone. A lot of teams were starting to man mark Palmer in the 10 position. So if you're man marking somebody in the 10 position, what you do as a manager, you say, okay, I'm going to put him out on the right. You man mark someone on the right out wide, then it's creating a lot of space in the middle for others to run into. So the more that Palmer was getting frustrated, the doubling up on him in the middle, then that knocks your confidence. And football's a confidence thing. So once your confidence is being knocked, the things that you used to be doing instinctively, then you stop doing it. So you start to overthink. If you look at Cole Palmer today, there was 2 or 3 chances where he had an opportunity to get the shot away, but he was trying to beat that extra man just to get into a better position to score. I think he only had that one shot near the end where the keeper made a good save, which was instinctive from him. But most of the time, he was trying his hardest to get into better positions, and he couldn't. He couldn't do that, and so yeah. So sometimes the manager, you either take them out of the firing line when they're out of form, which you didn't do, or I said you move his position, or you try other things to try and get them back into form again.
So overall, Max, I understand what you explained. I again, if we're factoring the chances as means the easiest of chances for him last season, I'd go for me, in my opinion. I know I'm entitled to my opinion, and you're entitled to yours. Everything about Palmer now is his form, really. That's just me. And one thing I'd go back to, if anything, is the fact that we've overplayed him and Jackson. They have no help. Here's where I blame
That's
Enzo
what I
Maresca.
said before.
Yeah,
Sorry to
you
interrupt.
said that.
I
Here's
said
where I
that
blame
before.
Enzo
Yeah, go on.
Maresca. Here's where I blame him. We had João Felix. João Felix can actually operate as a 10. He had the opportunity to create a healthy competition between João Felix and Cole Palmer. But instead, he openly, publicly stated that, yeah, João Felix isn't playing because you have Cole Palmer. That wasn't good, which was why you could argue that annoyed João Felix, that probably he felt like he needs to get out of Chelsea, actually, because the manager doesn't value him. Both can actually be on the same pitch. On the same pitch with João Felix operating as a 10. He has that vision, in my opinion. So I think, yeah, I agree. We've overplayed them. Even Nicholas Jackson. There was a
And
time when Nicholas Jackson had issues putting away chances for a prolonged period of time. We thought maybe the next game we're going to see Nkunku. And I think what drove people's opinion for asking for Nkunku in the next game was the opponent at the time. We needed a more fluid front line to deal with them. He didn't do that. That annoyed me too. I like him as a manager, and in my opinion, irrespective of where we are today, and the fact that this game ended in a draw and it feels like a loss, I think we're making progress in terms of we learned to play with a bit more maturity and balance, really. Because I can sit down and break down. Maybe you and I need to do a video, Max. We haven't done a one-on-one video before, and break down how we morphed into what people perceive as a boring football. It's actually on papers, because we don't have the experience to control games, and the only way we can play cautiously and with good balance and not lose all. And had he not done what he's doing right now, chances are we would have lost a lot more games than we did last season, which was what Poch didn't do and Potter didn't do. But that's a small opinion. We need to do a video where we debate that, because I love discussing football with
yeah,
you.
but we'll see that at the end of the season, won't we? Because even with Pochball last season, our last few games when the players were kind of getting used to his style of football, we went on a good run against.
I'd say the one change that helped us towards the end of the season under Poch was Kukurea inviting.
Yeah, yeah. So, but we did go. We went on a good run again with.
Yeah, we did. And look at this. Look at this, Max. Let me show you this. As I said, I think I already made a post on X about that. This game highlights what we need to do in the summer, in my opinion. Let me add this back. We need to see this window. If you can see it on my screen. Okay, let me move the presentation window there. Look at it. Our biggest problem is our defensive line. And I don't know how Cowell got 7.0 rating. I think our defensive line was nonsense today. Kukurea should have a better rating because he even got a goal. And then number 9, those two places in the midfield area, we don't have problems there. That's why I'm saying this game, if anything, highlights our deficiencies. What we must do in the summer transfer window.
Yeah, I think we do have problems in the midfield area. And that's what the problems that we have in the midfield area is that we.
Thank you for the update, DJ. Go ahead.
Yeah, we overplay the two.
Two of our most important players,
and they're overplayed. And again, we got to look at a bit of Maresco for that, because, for instance, last season we had what's his name? Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka was with us. He's fully fit this season. He could have added a bit more. He could have added something different into that midfield at times. He could have given one of these players a rest at times. And for some reason, he was marginalised as well. And So obviously, I know he said about his injuries, but he could have played a few games here and there. So I don't know whether it was a club decision and he's just going along with the club said because they want to sell him for pure profit. I don't know, but yeah. So he was another. As I said, he's another one who could have been utilised. And we are short in the midfield. No fault of Maresca on that one. It's the board and the planning, but and obviously with the Lavia situation as well. I think in the January we weakened ourselves without strengthening in those areas, and that's
But
another.
when you say, Max, can I say something quickly if you don't mind, please? I don't
Hmm.
mean to cut you off. I actually I always like to milk everything I can from you whenever I have you on. When you say, I think what compounded the fact that we didn't bring in reinforcements in that general transfer window was the fact that Nicholas Jackson and Margoui got injured in the same game, and
Yeah,
the
but
odds of that happening, but still, it was a huge risk
listen,
because the possibility is still there, even if the odd is 0.00009. But go ahead with what you were saying.
in business, when I'm in business, what you think of is contingency plan. You think of the what if scenarios, okay?
Or would it be right
Um,
to also
and
say you
and
have to be proactive?
listen, was Mark Gui wasn't even getting games. So when people say, "Oh, Mark Gui got injured," at the same time, Mark Gui was not even getting. He was playing in the Conference League. Okay, Mark Gui, even if Jackson got injured, would Mark Gui would have been enough to lead the line for us?
Mm.
No, he wouldn't have been. So I said we could have tried for somebody, even if it was just a loan move for somebody with a little bit of experience who could have and come into to take the pressure off our strike force. Because as you see, um, when Jackson plays, we play totally different. When we don't play with a striker, an out and out striker, someone who can stretch the play. When we play in this false nine experiment with Nkuku or whatever, we just look so terrible. You go back to the two Brighton games, you look at the Villa game, you look at other games, we just look poor. And so any striker who can stretch the play, I don't care who they are. Any striker who can stretch the play, decent in the air, good hold up play, would have got more out of our team. And so as I said, that I'm not blaming Maresca for that one. But then again, you got that McNelly, because remember that we got beat 3-0 by our youth team. And we got this kid McNelly who scored loads of goals for the, and that's what teams do sometimes. They take a chance on youth. If your the main players are not playing, you take a chance on some of the younger players, and they may come good for you.
I
And
could, if I may,
yeah,
if I just want to add to what you've said, I think you're right. I think there's a lot. You see, being realistic about where we are, this whole project, the reason why it's so expensive is one, the nature of the project, which with all the new regulation, I can see why they went that way, and it'll be hard to criticize them otherwise. The English league is very different to the French league. The PSG project is different to Chelsea's in that they still pay astronomical wages, and we're trying to have well, we do have a wage cap and a wage structure now. But that aside, we're not that far off, to be fair. What we do need additions,
I feel the
definitely.
same too. We
We,
do
you
need
know, we
reinforcements.
do
Yeah.
we do need this summer has got to be additions, and there has to be squad planning. What incensed me so much this January, Max, is
mm,
not even so much that we didn't buy players. It's the fact that we didn't plan. We just
mm,
offloaded left, right, and
yeah.
center without getting squad depth right, and that has left us quite weak. Now we're a little bit better because injuries are slightly coming back, but we're still weak. Look at our set pieces. We have a set piece coach, but every single set piece landed on an Ipswich head and not a Chelsea head. That is a deep concern to me because we're not the biggest, but we're not
Mm.
exactly that small at the back that all the headers will be lost to the
And Bobby,
opposition.
sorry to interrupt you. The only time we
Yeah,
switched it up, that's when Sancho scored. We switched up the set play. We
yeah,
didn't. We played it short, played it to Sancho, and he scored. That's the
yeah.
only time we did it. We had about
Yeah.
14 corners, and we did it once, and we scored, resulted in the goal. Sorry, I'll let you
And,
carry on.
and
So,
and you're right, and you know what I'm like with physicality, Max.
mm,
I'm a physicality person because you remember back in the day with the Ballax and the Essiens and the Lampards and the we had big guys in the middle. You could not bully Chelsea, and sometimes you have to bully your way through. I agree with you. Ipswich were there for the taking, but we were too, Tinkerbell, pussyfooting, trying to tip tap through into the net. Nobody strong enough to, one, take a rocket of a shot, two, just bully your way through. It was two in front of them, like when we played Arsenal at the Emirates. It was embarrassing. They just sat back, and it was like a kid trying to box Mike Tyson, and he just puts his hand on the kid's head, and the kid's just swinging in front of him, and he doesn't want to knock him out. That's what Arsenal did to us at the Emirates is when we played them. And this time was almost the same thing. We were just in front of them. We do have a lot of work to do. Champions League, maybe we can make it. This league has been funny. I think Liverpool has won it, not so much that they were so good, it's just that everybody else that could have challenged them was so bad. And they continue to fluctuate almost as badly as Chelsea do. But I think we have to do a lot better. This is not acceptable for Chelsea Football Club at all. And I can't, whoever is satisfied with this draw, I think they need to get their football perspective reassessed. We've got a lot of work to do. We do.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do. But for me, in my opinion, I like to look beyond results. Even when we win, the signs are good. But we shouldn't go into next season thinking everything is all right. No, unfortunately, uh, irrespective of the measure of progress Colwell have made, I think we do need to sign a centre back. Even one at least. I cannot rely on Fafana coming back. He works from home. He's gone beyond being a part-time working from
No,
home.
forget him.
Um,
Him and
in
Lavia.
Yeah, exactly.
Both
So in the
work from
attacking
home.
area, Nicholas Jackson needs help, and we've known all the while that he needs help. He does a lot of stuff correctly, but one thing he does, the most important thing, he doesn't do consistently. Unfortunately, which is put away chances that come his way. Always boring first half. We don't have a backup six. We've signed. I think in the midfield area in terms of sixes, I think we'll be all right. In all honesty, I think we need a traditional 10, one, a number 9, and then at least one leader in the back line. Tosin leads very well, in my opinion. I feel like crying when Max said
Can
when he
I
said
look at
about
the
Tosin,
sixes?
but that's okay.
So can I
Can
just
I tell you about the six a minute? The thing is, as well, do they care more about Strasbourg than they do about Chelsea? Because we could have
No, no, no,
bought
no,
back.
no,
We could have
no,
bought
no.
back
I
Santos.
don't think so, but
We
I
could
don't
have
think so. But go ahead.
we could have bought back Santos in January, and
Um,
I think
I
that
think it
could
was
have.
Santos that opted to go out on loan. I've heard that.
yeah, I think it
Even
was
last
his
2 seasons, he was the
development
one that opted
that
to
they
go
were,
out on loan.
and
Yeah, I
also
know, but we
bringing
could
him
have
back.
bought him back in January, and we could have got. He could have played a lot of games for us.
Max, in all honesty, I think the list of our issues is the midfield area. That's just my opinion, but I understand where you're coming from. But because he's a goal scoring midfielder, and chances are, if we had him, we'd probably win some of the games that we drew. Ganacho, proper Chelsea, thank you for him. So Carney wasn't working in the system. You can argue, and the manager was patient with him actually, but Carney wanted to be playing. Most of the players that left wanted to leave. They wanted to
No,
be playing week in, week out.
no,
Go
no, that
ahead.
wasn't right. That wasn't right. And Carney would have stayed, but we wanted him out.
Oh, we wanted him out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
I,
look
yeah,
at that
I,
way,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't work for the club, and they
I
also
just,
knew
I
about the
just,
Mudrik
I,
allegations too, and all those things. Rich, just 1 second, Bobby. Richmond makes. I blame the NCs for the goalkeeper and the striker letting other people. And now, Dante, are you there to take over?
I just want to say one quick thing, and
Yeah,
I
coach.
just want to
I'm
throw
here.
this grenade in because it's a slight
Just 1 second, Bobby.
digression.
Yeah, Dante, go ahead, take over. I'm gonna go get ready for charge.
No problem.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
thank you.
All right, it's a slight digression, and it's that look, this stadium thing needs sorting. Really, we got to sort this crap. I am sick and tired of watching these away fans get such prominence in our home stadium that all we do is look at them singing and dancing. And when we go to their stadiums, we're somewhere up, more or less sitting on the roof. We've got
Hmm.
to get this stadium sorted. I don't care whose ox is gored. This has to happen. I threw in something. I know it's taking us on a digression. I was like, look, if the pitch owners are so hell bent on Chelsea foot staying at Stamford Bridge, well, these people are money people. Keep Stamford Bridge. And still, if you can get somewhere within a 5 mile radius vis-a-vis Earl's Court, get that and build that for the first team to be playing games in. It really doesn't matter, but we need to progress. We can't keep that stadium we've got. It's just not good enough for this level that we're trying to play at. Well, that we are playing at, not trying to play at, we are playing at. I just had to throw that in there because it adds to the frustration. On a day like this, you get Liverpool, Ipswich, sorry, giving it the big un, and their fans. I'm just sick of it. We always have to look at away fans at our home stadium. That's not good.
Yeah, agree with that.
Yeah, that's a little problem, Bobby. Of course, it's a little problem, but like you said, we're not sorting that out till we get a new stadium. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Max was going to say something about that. Were you about to say something about something I said about that, Max?
No, it was what you were saying about the fans not being vocal enough, and you were putting it down to the older generation, which I disagree with. Having been going to Chelsea for a very long time now, and
Hmm.
what's changed at Chelsea, in my opinion, is that because now you've got more people interested in taking selfies and getting their phones out and recording the match than they are singing. And that's the like when the tourists come in and people who are not really attached to Chelsea in that way, yeah, who are not really getting vocal enough. The older fans, okay, they may not sing as much, but they do try and sing and create an atmosphere. And for me, the other thing is also is it's hand in hand with our playing as well. We when the team are playing well, playing exciting, attacking football, then the fans are vocal as well. So when we are when they're watching, I know that really we should be supporting them when through thick and thin, but when the football is a bit mediocre and slow, it just gets the fans a bit frustrated, and they don't really want to sing because they're really frustrated by the way that we are
Hmm.
actually playing. European nights have always been special, always been special. From the 1998 when we first got back into Europe, the place was rocking, and ever since, most European nights, the place is rocking. And
It is, yeah, yeah. I've noticed that. Now, the season ticket holders don't have tickets for the European nights, so they don't.
but they,
Not
they
as
do have,
many go. There's a lot more.
they do have
It's a
first
different
dibs
crowd.
though. A lot of them still do go to it because they have
They still
first.
do go. A lot of them, but a lot of them don't as well. It is a very different crowd. I've noticed that when I've been there. European night to a league game, it's a massive difference. It's a different crowd too. It's a little bit different from what I've noticed.
I have to add to that in that, as I said to you, Dante, first of all, really, Chelsea away fans are second to none. So then we can't bring them into any equation. The home fans, as Max said, they're still there. They're still vocal. They're still vociferous. They probably have a generation that need to be motivated a little bit more. But another thing that did happen to Chelsea, especially at Stamford Bridge, was I alluded to that point. You see, the football culture or fan culture is transmitted. It's like, people look at DJs always talking about when he first started. He started going with his dad. I think my first match, I went with my uncle. You kind of go either with your dad or a big brother, and then you transcend to you go and you're looking at all the bigger boys around you and what they're doing, and then it passes down. I think what sort of stunted Chelsea a bit or disrupted Chelsea a bit, and Max, I'm sure you would allude to this as well, was sadly, a lot of our ultras, so to speak, and
Mm.
as back then, I don't really want to start calling their names. They were very mixed up with the age of football violence. In fact, they were perhaps one of the very notorious sets, and they were the people that the shed will be throbbing because of them, and a lot of them ended up in prison. A lot of them ended up banned from the stadium itself, life bans, and so the dynamic shifted. Now, probably for a good thing, because that is never a good thing to go to football for that purposes. But I mean, a lot of the songs that we sing today came from that era, um, especially the foul ones, as it were. So we just have to reinvent ourselves and re-establish our sort of ultra culture at Chelsea. It's coming, but I think it will have to come this time with success, unlike before. It really came through the grassroots.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do think what I do disagree with. I think a lot of the fans are not cheering and not being vocal enough is because of the ownership as well. Because Clear Lake Blue Code, they didn't like it from the start. And as soon as we do something that's not quite right, doesn't look good, they start going at the players, going at the coach. As you can see, if you go on Twitter now, you'll see it's all that.
Yeah, on
It's all
Again,
social
I
media,
don't
not
agree
at
with
the
that. I'm
stadium.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't agree with that either.
I was at a couple of games, especially the Brentford. When we are, if we know what were they singing? We were singing "We Got Our Chelsea." The fans, they didn't think about that. And what is Chelsea want winning football back again, because especially a lot of the fans who came in. Me and Bobby are different, slightly different, because we've been supporting Chelsea before we were successful. So we've been through it, but we got a lot of fans around about the 2003-4 mark, where um, they were only used to success and watching good football. So
exactly it.
about the beginning of the season, when we were playing decent football, the fans weren't going on, getting on the manager's back or Clear Lake. They were seeing results, because we've had 3 seasons of Clear Lake now, and we haven't seen a lot of progress in
Come on,
those three
Max.
seasons.
They've been giving it from the start since they took over. It hasn't
What have
changed.
we?
It's only
What have
gotten
we
worse.
seen? No, they haven't. No, they haven't. They haven't.
Okay.
This. Can you say that at the beginning of when we were on that run before Christmas? What can you see that were they negative? Was there
Winning
negativity?
helps. Winning helps, but what? So
Exactly.
you're telling me
Exactly. That's my
if you
point.
lose
Winning
a game
helps.
or two, you start turning on your team and manager
Yeah, but
and
I
start
don't
saying
think
Clear Lake
I
out.
don't think it was. But even when we lost a game or two, when we lost against Fulham, it wasn't toxic. When we lost another game, but losing becomes a habit again, that's when because all it takes is a couple of losses and the negativity is going to start
Yeah, but I
creeping
mean, we
in.
were still fourth, and we were still fourth all season,
That's
basically.
because on the back of what we did before. So we were look at our run since Christmas. We'll be relegated. We'll be in the relegation zone. If you look at the amount of points we've
You
accumulated
know, it hasn't
since,
been good, but we're still
yeah,
in the Champions League spots. We're
yeah, that's
still,
because of what we did, as I said earlier. But
yeah,
you
but
know,
that's my point. That's my point. You
but
don't turn on your team and
any
players
any
if you're
team
still in
every
the top
team
five,
does
six, top four. Do you turn on your players straight away and your manager and Clear Lake because?
every team does that. We're not the only one who does that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If
but no,
Arsenal
it's
had gone on
different
a
with
gonna
Chelsea.
go
I've
there.
noticed it. We
if
were
Arsenal
fourth,
had gone on a
Max,
run
when this
where
was
they
going
lost
on.
7 or 8
We
games,
had the protest. We were fourth when we had the protest. What team protests when your team is fourth and we're
yeah,
on the
but
way up and we're rising and we're improving?
you
Don't
know
forget
when
this
the
is the youngest
protest
team in
came.
the top five
But
leagues.
you know what made or started the protest? What started the protest was after the January window. That's when a lot of the fans thought these guys are
And
not
the
serious.
losses that followed
Yeah, and
back to
that's
back
what
of people.
started the process, because that's when
Yeah, that just
I
gave
was
them
very.
fuel. That just gave them fuel. It was always there from the start. That
No,
just
no,
gave them
no, no,
fuel.
no, not really. I don't think so. From my point of view, anyway, I was quite, I was willing to give these owners a chance. I didn't like the way they got in with, the way the government stole the club from Roman. I didn't like that, but I was willing to give these guys a chance. I was defending them when lots of people were having a go at them. I was defending them with the Potter situation, other things. But what kind of did it for me with these owners was the lack of ambition shown in the window for when we were going through a rough start before. And the thing is, if we were doing well up until January, then I could say, okay, I can understand why they're not going to be making any purchases or anything. But
Did you want them
the
to
rock
spend two, 300
started.
million in January, Max? I'm not
No, I
sure
didn't
where.
want them to. No, no, no. I didn't want them to spend 200 odd million in January. What I wanted them to do is make some smart loan moves. Look at Aston Villa.
Or get
Aston
the
Villa.
new Olivier Giroud type striker
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly. Exactly. Look
He
at
just
Aston
did
Villa. Aston
nothing.
Villa bought Insigne. They bought in Marcus Rashford. they showed ambition because they want to reach Champions League. They want to qualify. They want to go far in the competition. So you saw teams making these moves. I'm not saying we should be splashing out 70, 80 million because January is not the best time to buy players anyway. The loan
Exactly. And we did
market,
look. We
but,
actually were
but
looking for players, but there was nothing available. And as
they,
soon as the
they
window hit,
were
our
available.
strikers got injured.
Rashford was available.
Who?
Okay, Rashford was available.
You would take Rashford at Chelsea on that salary and everything.
But Aston Villa not playing their full set. I'm just using him as an example. But I'm sure listen, I'm not paid for these guys are paid to do their scouting and due diligence and
Exactly, but you got to
whatever.
look at context. It was January. We
Yeah,
spent so much in the previous window.
yeah, but I'm not. So I didn't say spend. I said get
They
somebody
could have
on.
brought back Amando Broja,
You know,
Come on,
honestly,
Bobby,
because he's better
please.
than nothing.
but I'm saying bring somebody in on loan
He was injured,
until
Bobby.
the end of the season. I
Not
said even a
entirely.
striker, a
He's been
profile of
excellent.
striker that we need. You know, I said
You know, I agree with that. I agree 100% with that.
it's not
We
up to
need a
me to
different profile of
say
striker. I'm pushing for that. I was disappointed that we didn't get it, but there just wasn't really anyone available to get.
if they that's what they briefed us to say. But I'm sure if you look
No,
hard
you got to
enough,
look at it. You
if
got to look at it. Who was available and what was available, and there
if
really wasn't. People don't want to leave. People saying, like Delap. Delap's not going to leave Ipswich in January. He's not.
but
He's just not going to do that.
if you
Other
look hard
strikers.
enough, it would have been
Can
some
you name
players.
who else would you have
That's
bought?
true. The availability was very scarce.
There
That
was
is
no
true.
strikers available,
But
unfortunately.
but in that sense, you then dig into your academy. As I've said, people like Amando Broja, he's on his way out. We know that, but he
Bobby,
can
he was
do
injured at the
a
time.
job.
He came back to the club to rehab. He was completely injured. He was out.
Okay, then there really was no
Yeah,
one.
he wasn't available, unfortunately, because that might have maybe, but no, he came back to rehab. No, he wasn't. He was injured. He wasn't available. So
And
that was
didn't we offload David Washington then?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
David Washington wanted to go. There's
Yeah,
a
but
big
not
difference.
not if he was
if
offered
you
to
want to
play.
go,
He
but if
wouldn't.
he's under our contract, so we say no, we need you,
Yeah.
then we can't.
It
I
doesn't work like
want
that in
to go.
modern football, Max.
Yes, it
Unfortunately,
does. It does. It's
the players still have the
he's
power.
under contract. No,
Unfortunately.
you don't. That's why you got a contract.
Oh,
That's why
so
you.
you would have an unhappy player there. You're holding him from not going back. He hasn't played. He was here 2 years. He hasn't played for
He
the first
hasn't.
team.
Yeah, he hasn't played for the first team. But
But
if you
yeah,
say, look, you're going to be
but
getting
that's
minutes.
down to performance. That's down to maybe
No, he didn't get any
professionalism off field.
opportunities.
You don't
It
know
was
the context, what's
performance.
behind it.
He didn't get any.
By,
He didn't get
by,
any opportunities.
by the way, what on God's earth has happened to Omari Kellyman and Whisper Richards?
Injured,
Both are
Bobby,
injured.
injured.
Both of them are injured.
Kellerman
Oh,
came back 2
me.
games, or 3 games, and then he had an operation and he's out for the rest of the year. And the same with Richards. He's been out injured as well for a long time.
A lot of that is bad luck, really, because there
Exactly.
really isn't huge pickings, you got to say.
No,
But
I think
then,
Omeri Kellerman, if he was fit and playing, he probably would have got some chances. But unfortunately, yeah, he had 2 games back in the under 21s. He got injured and had an operation, and that's it for the season. He's gone. So it is very much, and we were talking about earlier about Mark Gee. Yeah, I think he would have played actually quite a lot if he was available, if he didn't get injured. I think he would have played quite a lot. And that's a shame that he got injured as well, because I think we would have seen a lot more of him. And just when a time when he was actually starting to improve. I know he was only playing Conference League, but was he scoring goals? He started scoring goals. He scored 6 in 6. He started scoring goals. Unfortunately, he got injured at the wrong time, and this was like a couple of hours after the window ended. They both got in. They got injured in the next day. So it was a bit unfortunate. We were looking at people. I think we were looking at people, but they're just strikers. There was no one available, and no one that available that you can, that unless you way, way, way overpay maybe or something or do something crazy.
But
Look what Man City did basically.
I'm
They
just
needed a
looking.
bit of a rebuild. They went
Yeah,
inside young kids and they way overpaid for those young kids.
I'm looking at a couple of guys here. You may laugh, but this guy could have done a job for us, and I'm sure we could have asked about him on loan. Someone who's played for us before, and he will be brilliant the way we play because he's good in the air. Is Alvaro Morata? Yeah,
We're not bringing back a 30-plus-year-old
no,
man.
on loan for 6 months. I'm not
No,
saying
there's not.
why.
They were not bringing back a
Yeah,
30-plus-year-old on massive wages, by the way, as well.
yeah, but you don't pay all their wages, though, do you?
Yeah,
You know,
but you're just
are
saying
we?
that. How do you know that? Why would the club give him up otherwise? They need him. But you pay his full wages, take him on loan.
No, but
Otherwise, you can't just say that. You don't know
it
the
doesn't
context
always.
behind
No,
everything.
but
Easy to say we could have got a
listen,
player like that in, but
I'm just using that as an example. I'm not a scout, but I'm just doing a quick search, and I've seen people like Origi. I'm looking at Morata. Okay, those guys are not thing, but they're strikers. They are better than playing nobody up front at all.
yeah, but that's not
And
the policy we have, and that's not you're not
yeah, but
bringing a guy there.
yeah, but why? Because they don't want to go from he's not a 17 or 18-year-old kid. So they want these guys could have added a bit of experience into our team,
But
but
they don't
we
want that. That's not what they're doing. This is not what their project is,
yeah,
unfortunately.
but so at the detriment of us not getting top four. Oh, we won't play. We won't get somebody because
Max,
they're
the
too old.
project, and we've heard this from the owners and Maresca's mouth. The plan was not to get Champions League this year. That was for next year.
That's nonsense.
No, it's not
That is
nonsense. They
that is
said it. You didn't hear the interviews?
that is nonsense. Because
The
at the
plan
beginning,
was next year
yeah,
to
but
improve even more.
you are believing this PR hype. That's all PR nonsense.
I'm not
That's what
believing PR hype. I'm
that's what
believing
they're
what the
saying.
owners
That's what they're
said,
saying.
what Maresca
That-
said, and what the
no,
plan was from the start. It was always a 5-year project.
they
So
wanted
I'm
why
actually going
listen,
from what they're saying,
listen.
and they
They
haven't.
did want Champions League football. The reason what you can and what they say, don't get hoodwinked into what these guys are saying. It was we are struggling. If we don't get Champions League this season, we're doing sort of all these creative stuff like selling the women's club and doing all that sort of stuff to get
That's
money.
fine. Yeah.
Champions League generates money, and we're quite fortunate
Exactly.
this year.
Success brings money.
We're,
Correct.
we're a bit
You nailed it on
fortunate.
the head there. Success brings money,
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. But what I'm
correct.
saying is the
That you're
reason why.
100% on that
Listen,
one. Success
okay,
breeds money, brings money,
yeah,
sponsors.
okay. Why didn't we get a sponsorship? Because we're waiting to see. We want to. If we got
It's
Champions
not
League,
worth it. Yeah, yeah. If we make
yeah,
Champions League, then you're
front of
getting a much
shirt
bigger sponsor.
sponsors, well, and that's why because they're banking on Champions League. They get a bigger front of shirt sponsorship at
Correct.
the club with Champions League football. So for you to say that the club are not, of course they want the Champions League.
Of course, they, if
The
we're in
club,
it now, of course they want it now at
listen,
the end of the
the club are
season.
going to
But
say sort of
I'm
stuff
just telling you
because
the
it's all
plan.
PR stuff. So it's about because the fans are going to moan about it, but say, oh, the plan was always not to get it. It's to make themselves look better. That's why they're saying it to
No,
make themselves.
the plan's always been a long-term plan. We all know that. They always said it's going to be at least a minimum 5-year plan, and that's they want these players to grow together and develop together
That's
and
not
mature
the. But
together. The ones that
but
are not good enough, they're going to go out, and other ones will come in. When the
but
project is
you,
correct, then
you
when we qualify for Champions League, that's when they will sign some more players and add to this team. And we're talking about more superstar players. They want to bring in some big names when that happens. They've been clear about that plan all along. Nothing's changed.
which is a
So I
better front
don't
plan.
see
So,
what's changed. It's all there.
but
They laid it out to us, and it's all still going to plan.
But Dante, what you've alluded to it already about what players are like when I said about contracts and things. Are players like Cole Palmer going to hang around if we spend 2 or 3 seasons out of the Champions League? No, they're not. They're
What's
going to be
Palmer?
moving out. Yeah,
Who's Cole Palmer? Sorry, I'm not sure what you're saying. What's
these guys are not going to stick around if we're
look at the way
spending
Cole
three or
Palmer's
four
playing,
years.
Max. Well, what do you mean? What has he done? He hasn't done
It
nothing in the
doesn't.
last 4 months.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter because what happens is when you're
He's
surrounded
young.
by
He's got
when you're
time.
surrounded by mediocrity, then you start to play.
He's not surrounded by mediocrity. There's some really world class players. You're telling me Caicedo's
Who's world
mediocre,
class?
Enzo's mediocre. He's got very good players around him.
Who's world class?
Enzo Fernandez is world class.
Caicedo's played with Enzo's in and out. Sorry, I wouldn't put him as a world class bracket now. The only one who I'd say who's consistently performed this season is Caicedo. I
And
wouldn't say that
Cucurella is world class.
Cucurella is good. I wouldn't say world class. He's
So
not
okay,
world
so the
class.
best left back in the world for the last year, winning the Euros and everything, is not world class to you. Enzo Fernandez winning the World Cup, winning the Copa America in the most successful team for Argentina pretty much ever,
He's not world
is not
class.
world class.
No,
Okay,
he's not
cool.
world class. Yeah.
In your opinion, yeah. I
In my
guess
opinion, he's not world class because he hasn't
people look
shown.
at it differently, yeah. But
Listen. So somebody like Dickov Origi, is he world class? He won the Champions League with Liverpool. Is he world class?
Divock Origi, no,
Yeah,
he's
he
not
won the
world
Champions League
class.
with Liverpool, and he
But he was
won.
a
He
sub
scored
all
the
the
goal,
time, Max.
but
He
he
came on
scored
and
the goal.
scored winning
He,
goals and stuff, but
he
he's a
scored the winning goal
substitution.
against Barcelona. Would you
But
say
he's not a starter. He's a backup player. You can't
Would you say
compare Divock
Jersey
Origi to
Dujek?
Enzo
All right,
Fernandez.
so Jersey Dujek, he won as a starter for Liverpool Champions League.
But
Would you say he's
what did
world
he do
class?
for Poland? Nothing.
Yeah, no. Would you say he's world class though?
No, he's not world class.
Yeah, but you
You have to
can't
win
just
for
say,
your
oh, because
country, and you
somebody
have to do it.
won.
You have to
Yeah,
play for a
because
top
somebody.
club. That's
Yeah,
the way I see it.
yeah, but
You have to be a
because yeah,
starter for your
exactly. You got to do it for
country,
your country
and you got
and
to be in
your
the
club
top 4 or 5 leagues of the world as a
and your
starter as
club.
well. That makes you world
No,
class
he's
for
not
me.
world class. No, listen, world class is bandied around too often. There's not many players who are world class.
Well, it
There's
depends
only
how you
that's
define
why
world class. I just told you how
world
I
class.
define world class. If you start for your
World,
country,
yeah, but Tali Kafika is world class then because he won the World Cup with Argentina, so he's world class. Yeah,
where does he play though?
it doesn't matter where he played. He won the World
Of
Cup
course,
with
it matters your
Argentina.
club where you play. Of course, it matters.
You're defining world class by what they
Yes,
win.
of course, he's
So,
world class.
so,
Enzo Fernandez
so
is world class to me. He plays
no,
for his team, who've won a World Cup and a Copa
yes,
America.
I'm
He's a
taking
starter. He's not a squad
Tali
player.
Kafika.
He's a
He
starter.
played for them as well, so he's world class then because he won the World Cup for
Who?
Argentina.
Sorry,
That left back, Teddy Gafika, whatever, the
yeah,
one
but
who used to play for Manchester United. He won the World Cup for them, so is
I
he
don't
world
know
class?
who's played for Manchester United. I'm not sure who. Yeah, I'm
The
not
left
sure
back,
that guy.
you know that left back. Yeah,
Yeah, but he's not. What did I say?
is he
Top
world
four
class?
leagues in the world. Start as a
Yeah,
starter.
he played for Manchester United as a starter.
He's never played for Manchester United. That guy.
Yes, he does. Go back and look at go back and look.
Well, if he started for Manchester United and won and is a starter for Argentina, then yes, he's world class. Yes, because he's won
No,
and he's played for one of the biggest clubs in the world. So yes, he is.
that's a poor barometer. Then you got loads of
But
world
that's
class
my
players. World class.
barometer. He's a world class player.
You don't throw world class about like that. You don't throw world class about like that. World class,
Well, world
you
class
know,
is winning at the highest level.
no, world class is influencing as well as winning at the highest level and on a consistent level.
Influencing what? What are you talking about commercially or?
No, you like Messi's world class, Ronaldo's world class. You know, those
Well,
are
there's not
people
only
I
two
call
world
world
class
class.
players in the world. If you're going to say it that way, then okay, yeah, they were world class. But you're talking about what, 5 players in the world? I'm talking about
Yeah, and
world
that's what
class
I'm
is not
talking
just five
about.
players
Yeah,
in the
because
world,
that's why
Max.
you're world class
All right,
because
well
you
then, world class to you
only
means something else that it means to me. That's then it's not for me world class, and for everyone here that I know, and people, my friends, and everyone, world class is completely different from the way you're saying world class. That's just a communication thing, a word thing. You're looking at world class as the absolute best top 3, 4 players in the world. Well, then okay, I can say
that's the
that.
way
That's okay.
that's the way I define world class. Yeah.
Okay, for you, yeah, that's fine, no problem. I'm just
And
saying
for
it's not
a lot of people as well, not just for
okay
me.
for a lot of people as well, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are not, because everyone I know sees world class differently. So it just depends who thinks world class. That's not an issue. Okay, I understand now what you're saying now, because I didn't understand. I thought you were talking about like more players, but you're talking about the top echelon. You're talking about the goats, basically the greatest of all time. You're talking about.
Yeah, I don't ban the word world class. I take that as a serious thing, so I
You
don't
take
really
that as
just.
a serious top 5 in the world, basically. Okay,
I
now I
don't. Yeah,
understand.
I don't just ban that label
Okay, no,
around.
I get it now.
Every,
Sorry, I didn't know. Now
for
I know.
me,
World class for you is top
you need
5 in the
to.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, not Enzo Fernandez is not the top 5 in the world. So then, in your eyes, he's not world class. But in my eyes, he is world class. So because from my parameters, the way I look at it, he's world class.
Has he played consistently well for us this season? Consistently well for us this season.
Yes, he has. Yes.
Oh, that's where I differ as well. I
Okay, so
don't
those
think. I
first
think
12 games, we were basically unbeaten. Who started for us in those games, and who was critical in that midfield
Caicedo was critical in that midfield.
defensively? Yes, but who created
Yeah,
all the chances and all the look? You can look at the
Cole
stats.
Palmer.
You can look at the eye
Cole
test. You can
Palmer
look
was.
at both. He was
Yeah,
one of the main. He was our
no,
top
it
four
was Cole
players.
Palmer. Enzo started to create chances and score goals
Yeah, but he did
towards
that in
the
the
latter
first.
part.
He
No,
was. If
no,
you
he
look at
didn't.
he did
It
that
was
at the start of the season
no
as
the
well,
goals
and he
and
was
assists.
consistent doing
The
it.
goals and assists at the beginning of the season. If you look at the start of the season, the
Yep.
goals and assists came
But
from
you're only looking at goals
Cole
assists. Well, then
Palmer,
that's not good if you're only looking at goals and assists.
Nicholas Jackson, and Noni were the highest GAs at the beginning of the season.
Nani scored 4 goals, 3 goals in a game, and then didn't score nothing for 12 games or assisted 0. So no, Nani definitely not. So if you look at it now,
No,
who's your top?
but that's what I'm saying. You're labelling that he scores 3 goals in a game. What's Finn scored a batch of goals in, but he's gone periods without doing anything.
So you're going to say
Enzo,
Enzo is not important in this Chelsea team, and he hasn't been one of our top 3-4 players of the season.
it's not hard, though, is it? It's not hard in the way the team's playing. It's not hard to be
Okay,
one of the top 3 or 4
so
players.
you obviously don't rate Enzo Fernandez very much.
I didn't say I don't rate him. I didn't say I don't rate him, but I'm saying that he hasn't done enough for me. There's a good player in there, but I wouldn't say that he's vital to the way we play. Out of possession, he lacks legs. He's not. Um, there's a lot of times that the press has been bypassed because of his defensive duties. A lot of times I've seen him this season I don't knock it because I don't mind people who try to do progressive passing, but a lot of them haven't hit the mark for me. And
You've not how many progressive passes he's made, like the most in as a midfielder. He's number one in the league, basically.
but there's stats and there's stats. There's stats and
No,
but you
I'm
can say,
talking facts. Yeah, I'm telling you
it's
stats and
5
facts.
yard, 10 yard. What's a progressive pass could be 2 yards forward.
No, and
So you've got
created how many created
but when we're
chances,
looking at these
small
stats,
chances.
we got
He's basically number one in the league as a central midfielder.
yeah, but I also look at the eye test as well. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
say
do
that
as well. Of course,
I
I do
wouldn't say
as
that
well. But
he's. I wouldn't say
that's
that
just, I guess, you don't really rate him that highly. I
I
guess so.
do.
That's
I
fine.
do rate him, but I don't rate him as you know. I wouldn't put him as one of the top 5 or 6 midfielders this season in the Premier League football.
Okay, no problem.
That's
I
my
understood.
opinion.
All good, Bobby. You have any thoughts on that one?
Sorry, I was listening to Maresca. Where are we?
Uh,
What was the?
Max just talking about
Enzo
Enzo
Fernandez.
Fernandez. He doesn't think he's really one of our top midfielders in the league, or not really. I don't know if he doesn't think he's good enough really as a top player.
I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's been consistent enough over the course of the season. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's a good point. Look, one thing we have to remember, Dante, is that these guys, we're working with a lot of potential. They're
Oh
developing
yeah,
players. Even though some of them are playing for their national teams regularly, in terms of the rigors of the Premier League vis-a-vis top flight European football, they are in development and they're the top echelons of developing players, but they're not there yet. And that will include Enzo. I think Enzo is very much a developing player. Caicedo, even. Caicedo's an excellent player. He's going to, and probably is, amongst some of the best midfielders in the world, but he's developing. So it won't be till these lads get to about the age of 25, 26, 27, which is
right.
still
Yeah,
some years away for them, that we would really start to see and be able to classify them as greats. And hopefully by then we would be where we should be and be winning some trophies which add to that. So I wouldn't rush to give too many accolades, excessive accolades to Enzo yet. He's good, but yeah, he's got a way to
but not
go.
at club level. No,
Yeah, I mean, look at today. The shooting opportunities, the shots he was taking were quite weak when he did take them. Yeah, he did a lot of good things, but there were lots of things that you could see that, that's a kid out there, and it is what it is. It is our journey, the journey
correct.
we've taken, and we've got a very good squad. We're not far away
And
with
that's why I
these
said,
kids.
Bobby, they want them to grow together, mature together, and get better together.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I
And
But what we're all kicking off about, and rightly so, is if you get the squad balance right, they'll grow
hold on,
together
Keyshawn.
successfully. That's the whole
listen.
point.
That's my thing because last season we had somebody at the back, and unfortunately, down to his age, we couldn't hold on to him in Thiago Silva. And you could see the way that he was marshalling that back line, and you could see how valuable experiences in certain areas. To have all these kids playing at the same time, I don't think it's viable. It's never worked ever ever. So I don't know how these guys are arrogant enough to think that it can
Well, it's not
something
going
like
to work
this
to win the
will
Premier League.
will
It's definitely
work.
not going to work the Premier League.
Yeah.
But is it
But
going
if
to
it,
work long term for these players together and maturing and getting better together?
that's what I'm saying. That's if they stay together. And so if we
Correct.
get
If they
create
stay
a
together.
losing mentality, I can't see them staying together. Some of them are going to get
Well,
itchy
you keep
feet
saying you
and
think they'll
want to be
leave, like Palmer's going to leave next
gone.
year or something, but
That,
I don't
that
see that
if
happening.
we have another season without Champions League, some of these players are going to be going. But because we
Mm,
can't afford to keep them because the money that it generates in the Champions League, we won't be able to afford to keep some of these
yeah, yeah.
players.
Well, we
And
can
some
say
of
that
these
at the end
players,
of the season, Max. So the
if
season's
you
not finished.
when
We're still
people
very
are
much in the Champions League sport. Correct. Yes. They're not getting bonuses. They get
yeah,
bonuses
they will
if
want to leave. Exactly, they're going to get the bonuses. They are going to want to leave. If you're looking at building, what I see with building, which I would have loved us to emulate, is what PSG are doing. Last season, they didn't look great at all. They looked a bit like we have for the last 2 or 3 seasons. But what they've done, they've kept a lot of their experienced players. So
okay,
if you
Max,
look,
let me put it to you this way. If Luis Enrique came last season and had a horrible season, you think he'd still be a Chelsea manager? Just like
um,
he did at PSG, had a horrible season, basically?
listen, it
No.
depends. It depends. It depends on the progress that you see
Well,
with
what
the
would the
team.
fans say? I'm talking about the fans and the season ticket holder and the fans. What would they say? The boring football he played with the players he had last year and how they weren't really doing very well? Or would he still be at Chelsea this season?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that question. But
Oh, I'm just saying he was given time.
yeah, he was given time. I'm not advocating for a changing in the manager year in year out because I've never advocated for that. Even when Poch was here last season, I don't advocate for just a constant change of manager. I do look at a manager and see that they could do better. And
Yeah,
my
yeah.
issue is more
So you
with
want
the
Maresca here next season as well?
if he stays, I haven't got any qualms about
Okay,
him staying
no
next
problem.
season. But he's obviously he, he's
Hold on, Keishan. We'll come to you. Hold on.
he's made a lot of mistakes. I think he needs to improve on that. But what I'm saying is, going back to the PSG thing, they've got a few players who are like 28, 29. Marquinhos is 30,
Yeah, but you
and
can't. I'm sorry, Max, but you can't compare PSG with Chelsea. You just can't. Playing in the French league and offering some of those young kids and some players they got the salaries they're offering. You can't do that in the Premier League. You cannot do that. So for me, it's,
If I could just add to that, if I could
no, but
please
you
just
cannot
add to
compare
that,
what they're doing, like
um,
the players they have and how much they pay for those players.
exactly.
And that was the old Chelsea, Keyshawn. That was the old Chelsea. Keyshawn, unfortunately, that was the old Chelsea. And it's not Abramovich anymore. And Abramovich could not do what he did before either now with the new Premier
the,
League rules.
the level of experience that we would need at our club is going to be expensive. And when we talk of people like PSG, they still pay the super wages, which we don't.
Exactly.
And we need to look at
Yeah,
the regulations that has made us
but
have to take this route. And there has to come a time, and I think we are at that time, where we just have to accept what we're doing and realize that it's going to take us time. My
Correct.
beef isn't what we're doing. My beef is the squad balance. Getting a striker, getting a good goalkeeper. I
Correct. Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really care that they're all young and they're growing together. I've accepted that. But what I find inexcusable is when we are short in personnel in games when we shouldn't be for a club of our stature. And we need to address that. And once we had, for
100%.
example, if we had Rory Delap in Chelsea, that game would have taken on a whole different image because we've got a striker. He's a hustler. He's physical, and and that gap is what's missing. So we have to accept the project we've got. Well, we can't say that they didn't completely address it. They've off.
They
First of
tried.
all, they had to off. Yeah, they tried. They had to offload dozens of players, and then they had to. Some of them were their own mistakes, some of them weren't. But for example, the Lukaku debacle was an inherited error. They've had a lot of work to do in a short time. And I think, at this level, somebody asked if Luis Enrique had a bad season last season, would he still be at Chelsea now? Well, I'll probably say no, he wouldn't, because we're so impatient as a fan
Exactly.
base. We really are. So, they wouldn't have allowed him to evolve. And he's evolving, even keeping places like players like, what's that right winger they've got? The French guy that came from
Barcola or
Barcelona.
Duo? Oh,
Um,
Dembele.
Dembele, and he's not on chicken change wages either. So we've got to accept the project we're in. There's really nothing wrong with it, but it's the application. And now going forward, I think this summer there's no excuse. Please God, by some miracle, let us
Mhm.
make it to the Champions League. But whatever happens, we must get that striker. We must
Yeah,
address the goalkeeper and
100%.
probably look at the defense as well, to at least get another centre back in or left back. And then we can go again. And I think we just squad depth and strength in depth has got to be what we're looking at, especially if we're in the Champions League. The age really doesn't matter. If you're good enough, you're old enough.
And I think, yeah, Bobby, what you said there is correct. And I think it'll matter if we qualify for the Champions League, the caliber of player we can bring in as well. So that will have an impact, obviously, as well. But
But Bobby, don't you
Keyshawn,
think we need a bit of experience though?
We
yeah,
could
yeah,
do, but
Max.
We've got no
it's
experience
expensive.
and we've got no leadership. That's why.
Well, we've already seen the reports and everything. We're looking for a striker, we're looking for a centre back, and we're looking for another winger that is a right-footed winger that can play left wing, right
Yeah,
wing.
but we're going to have the same without experience. What experience does, because the
Yeah,
reason why we were so good before Christmas, after Christmas, I always say that separates the men from the boys. When the games are coming thick and
yeah,
fast,
yeah.
when you need a little bit of when also when results are not going your way, you need somebody out there with a bit of that experience, a bit of know-how who can help
Yeah,
the kids
it
along the
helps in the
way.
long run, of course. In the long run, it's always going to help experience, 100%. But
But
that's just
availability
apology.
of that
We're not
experience.
ready to add experience yet.
For instance,
Thiago Silva is
we could
is
have got.
is a rare commodity, a
Very
rare
rare.
commodity. Anything in the modern game, even close to that, is going to be demanding at least 300k in wages, and Chelsea
Exactly.
don't
He
like
wouldn't have been
don't
here if
do that.
Listen, we could have
he
got
was here at the
Osimhen
time. So we were
250.
lucky that he was here
We,
already here because I don't think he would have come otherwise.
we could have got Osimhen on 250.
Yes, he has, Sean. I will correct you. He has been through this. He's won a treble.
You're right. He did win a treble. He
Maresca's
has
got the
won a treble.
experience, Sean. First of all, as a player, and as a manager as
Uh,
well. He's
as
got
an
that
As a
assistant coach,
manager, how?
as an
assistant coach
assistant
in
manager with Manchester
Manchester.
City, as
Yes,
being the first team assistant and winning a treble with Manchester City. So he's done that. He's won playing as a player as well. So it's not like he hasn't been around.
you're
Yeah,
talking about
Sorry.
an assistant. It's not. He's an assistant. He's not as a manager.
yeah,
What's
but
he
as
done
an
as a
assistant,
manager?
Yeah, but if you know football, the assistants do all the work, especially the first assistants. They do all the work.
No, he
The
doesn't.
manager at the top level doesn't do that much work.
It's, Of course, it's different.
It is
I can't
okay.
believe I hear what I'm saying.
It is not different at
Really?
all.
Of course, it's
It is not
different.
different.
Of course,
Yeah.
come on.
The
Come
main
on.
manager, like Pep Guardiola, he'll make all the decisions, the final decisions.
Exactly.
But who trains the
And that's
players
what
and
it doesn't matter.
who
I
trains
don't
the
care who
players
trains
every
the
day and is
players.
with the
I don't
players?
care who trains the players. I'm caring about who makes
Okay.
the decisions. The one who makes the decisions is the one
The
who
assistant
counts.
manager is
Yeah.
very important. Where do all the best coaches come from? Sorry, not assistant managers.
Like who?
What do you mean they're bringing up Maresca? What are you saying? I'm not trying to. Sorry.
Yeah, he's yeah. He was.
Oh, of course the pressure's on
That's
the
right.
manager.
He was
Yes,
our
no doubt
assistant
about it.
manager. Yeah, he was our assistant manager at the
But
moment.
you guys saying like Maresca has no
No,
clue
no, no.
because
He was our assistant manager. He asked you a question.
what do you mean? The keeper, what's his name? Willie
He was,
Caballero and the other guy, what's his name? I can't remember.
yeah, but he was Man City's assistant manager. He was Liverpool's assistant
He's got
manager.
like 10. I'll give you an example. Carlo Ancelotti. How
Yeah,
many
10.
assistant managers does
Exactly.
he
He was one of. He was one of. He was one of two, 3 or 4. He
have? No,
wasn't
no, no.
the assistant. Maresca was one of three
Ancelotti
or
has
four.
got 24.
Exactly. So all the 24 are important then. So all 24 can go on
They
and
do all the work. They do everything. And
yeah, but so they can all 24 of them can then go on and be
I'm just
successful
saying
at
that's a
other clubs
ridiculous
because
number.
they
First
won.
of all, that's crazy. But most managers have one or two, maybe three assistant manager. Your first assistant manager, second and third assistant manager, going by experience and what he is. Yeah, but you guys were saying he has no experience at all. How
He
can he not
hasn't
experience when he
he
was around
hasn't
the
won
room?
anything. Yeah. He hasn't won
What?
anything, has he?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, but sorry, Kishon. Do you think Maresca is the problem? Is that what you're saying? But are you saying Maresca is the problem? Okay. I just wanted to clear that up because that's what it was going. You're saying it's all Maresca's fault. He's the problem. Yeah, but and that's why Maresca is the manager of these guys because they needed someone like that. They needed someone that can manage them and micromanage them, and Maresca does that. That's what he does with them, and they needed like someone like that. That's in hindsight, not necessarily. That one leader is not going to make any difference. It's just not with such a young team. Maybe if you're talking the whole
One
spine,
leader
something
will
like
make
that.
a lot of difference. One leader will make a lot of difference. And I'll tell you,
So it made a
I'll
big
give you an
difference under
example.
Pochettino.
I will give you an example. Yes,
We were 13th, 12th for all
yeah,
season. It made
but
a big
then
difference.
no. When we weren't 30. Where did we finish? Where did we
What do you
finish?
mean? We were 12th all season.
Yeah, where did
We
we
won the
finish?
last 5, 6 games, which pushed
Yeah,
up to
exactly,
sixth.
exactly,
But
exactly.
where were we
But,
all season? Where has
but
Maresca have us all season?
for the business end of the season, we had somebody who
Well, the
had
season's
a
not
bit of
finished, first of all. But I'm
experience.
just saying, where were we all season
At the
under
business
Pochettino
end
with
of
an
last
experienced player?
season, we had Thiago Silva who who, who, who,
Sterling,
who was helping us.
Thiago Silva, Sterling,
Yeah.
Chilwell, experienced players. Where did that get us with Pochettino?
Sixth,
Okay, and we're
sixth.
okay. No, because I'm just saying. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying about the experience. The experience. Poch is not a
But
sh.
listen,
I don't like him. I don't
I'll
rate
tell you,
him.
I, I will tell you,
Yeah, he's a bottle job.
and
We all know this. He's a bottle
and I
job, but he's
I
a
will
very
tell
still a
you our
pretty good
one
coach.
player. I'll tell you our
He's
one
not the
player.
worst in the world because he's had a lot of
Um,
experience, like you guys say. He's coached at the top level.
yeah,
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, it does. You had leaders last season, Thiago Silva, Sterling, Chilwell, those
Sterling
older
wasn't a
leader
leader.
guys.
Sterling's not a leader. How can you call Sterling a
Chilwell
leader?
is. He was the captain, co-captain.
Chilwell hardly played. Chilwell was injured. Yeah, he
I'm
wasn't even
talking about
playing.
last season when he played under
Last season he
Pochettino. He
didn't
was a
play, he was
starter,
injured.
wasn't he?
No, he was injured.
Come on,
So
he was every
come
time he
on.
was fit and available, he was a
No,
starter.
he
Are you guys
didn't.
kidding me?
Cucurella took over. Cucurella took over from me. He was on the bench towards the end. He
Yeah, when
did.
he got injured, yes. Finally
Yeah,
realized
exactly,
Pochettino at the end of the
exactly,
season
and that's
realized.
when we and that's
Okay,
when we
but
started.
they were leaders. You're talking about mature guys. You said it
He's not a
would make
leader
a big
anyway.
difference having 2 or 3 mature
Chilwell's
guys in
not a
this
leader.
team. Well, he didn't
Chilwell's
last
not a leader.
season.
Chilwell's not a leader. I'll tell you who a
Okay,
leader is, and I
co-captain is
think
not a leader. Okay.
just because you're a captain, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Is Reece
No,
James
no.
a leader? No, he's not even captain material. Reece James only got the captain material, then that's a detriment because of our lack of leadership. Because he's not a leader, Reece
I
James.
agree with that. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that one. I
So
don't think
but
he's
he's a
either.
captain though. But you said that leaders, but you were making the same thing about what's his name, Chilwell, because he said he's a captain, so he must be a leader. So
No, but I'm just saying he's one of the more mature, and he was a co-captain. So they consider him. They can Pochettino and everyone consider him as a leader.
listen, can I show you what a leader is? And can I tell you what a leader is?
John
And
Terry.
no. And I'll tell you what a leader does. Right? Okay.
Well,
When
you
we
said
played,
sorry, Thiago
hold on,
Silva. You
let me
said he
talk.
was a leader, correct?
Let me talk. Yeah. So when we played against Liverpool in the Carling Cup, Liverpool had all these kids out who were. Okay, our side, although they were younger than Liverpool's side, but
Yeah.
experience wise, these
Oh yeah, the
Liverpool were
Van
a
Dyke.
younger
Yeah.
experience wise because but they had Van Dyke in that team who carried that
Yes,
team to success. Okay, so um, for
because
me,
he scored the goal with a header.
no, not in the goal. He marshalled that team against us. He marshalled that defense against
You know
us,
how many
and
chances we missed, Max. You know how many open, clear
yeah, but
chances we missed in that game.
he still marshalled that team. He showed leadership qualities.
Okay,
It
yeah, we know he's a leader. So Van Dyke is a leader. You're saying, yes,
exactly. That's what I call a
yes.
leader.
Okay,
John
yes.
Terry is what I call a leader.
But you said Thiago Silva was a leader as well.
Thiago Silva. If Thiago Silva was in that team when we played in the League Cup final, we would have won that League Cup final.
Okay, so
Because
Thiago Silva. Well, that's different.
what leaders also do, you don't only look at it. Leaders calm the rest of the players down. The leaders,
They do,
and
yes.
there's all sorts of things. Leaders, you know, they
Yeah,
when something's happening, when they see something's happening, they'll
They
go
pop
in
up
with
with
a
a winning
crunching
goal.
tackle, or they'll do something. You know,
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
I'm a bit older than a lot of you guys. When I was playing with some younger kids, and I was back then. I just said I had leadership qualities. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to leadership. When I was playing with a young team, when I saw that our team needed that bit of motivation, when I saw that the levels had dropped, I'll do something. And all of a sudden, as one player in the team, if I did something, then it has a ripple effect to all the other players who I was playing with. And that's what you see. As a leader, you identify issue situations and you solve problems on the pitch itself.
Yeah, I agree with
Yep.
that 100%. But at the top level, it can be a
It's
little bit
not at the top.
different.
No, football's the same in any level. I don't care what level you're
No, no,
playing
it's
at.
not the
Yes,
same
it
in any
is.
level,
Yes, it
Max. Sorry,
is.
I disagree with that
Football
one.
is the same at any level. I'm sorry. Of course it
So
is.
you've played
And
at
I
the
tell
top
you,
level?
it doesn't matter what I play. I said football is, there's no difference between grassroots and the mentality side of it is the same. Look,
No, there
look,
is a very big
listen, no, it
difference.
isn't.
And
Listen,
I'll tell you why there's a
listen.
very
No,
big difference.
listen. Roy Keane. I'm not sure if you're around when Roy Keane used to play. I'm
Yes,
not
I
sure
was,
how
of
old you
course.
are, but he even said it when what it did. When things weren't going right at United, he'll come in with a couple of crunching tackles. The fans would get on side, and you saw the lift it had in
Yeah,
the
red
Manchester
card
United
tackles that
group.
would be now. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand what you're
and
saying. They
that's
had
what
more
happened.
leaders in that team, not just him.
Rudiger. If you look at what Rudiger did for us, under Rudiger, when
Yes.
Rudiger was playing,
Yep.
we go to places like Atletico Madrid, where Luis Suarez he couldn't get away with his nastiness and stuff like that. Rudiger
But
had him,
Rudiger's not
and
really
he
a
fed
leader.
him.
He's
He is
not.
a
He
leader.
wasn't a leader
Of
then.
course, he was a leader.
What
Of
by
course, he was a
tackling? You're
leader.
saying he's a leader by
No,
tackling.
and he was a leader. If
And do you
there's
see how? Do you see what he does in the changing room and off field?
I hear about what he does in the changing room. Yes,
and not
I
fit.
hear
So
what
you
you're
don't know.
saying.
That's what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
you. You
No,
don't
no,
know,
no.
but
I do know. I do know. I
you
do
do
know.
know.
I do know.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I
He
do
might
know
not
what.
have been a leader, but he definitely was an alpha male. He's definitely so. He's definitely like like. Come on, bro. You look how Rudiger plays compared to
He plays with
Colwell.
heart and passion.
Our
I know
whole
what you're
defense
going to
just
say. Yes.
backs up. No one ever steps up. They don't want to play physical. They're scared. We need someone in the back line who was experienced that wants that could get these guys engaged. You know, because they don't just look
Mm,
disinterested the whole time. And Colwell just
what do
has
you mean
his
they're
hands up,
disinterested?
like he
How are
doesn't
they
want to take
interested?
any accountability for anything he does wrong. And who's gonna put the accountability on him? Who's gonna make him like understand like you need to be better in these moments? The
You
manager
think
should, right? But
you
you
think
also
there's no
need a
players in
player
the
who could
dressing
tell
room
you
that
this
would say
too.
that?
We got Tosin as our leader. Can you believe that? Tosin.
Yeah,
That
it
doesn't
was
mean he's
getting
a leader.
cooked.
He's a mature guy. Doesn't mean he's a leader.
No,
But you
that's what
think
he said. Look. You need to not only just watch the matches. You need to see what's going on in the club. Okay, you need to
yeah,
do something because if you know what's going on in the club, you'll know that they say they look up to Tosin as a leader, and
yes,
that's
they
and,
do.
and,
They
and
look
if we're looking
they
at
respect
Tosin,
him because
then
he's
we've got issues.
older.
We've
He's a
got
Bro,
mature
I'm
issues.
guy.
not bro,
Sorry.
nobody that's my backup I'm looking to
They're not looking
if
to him as a
Tolston's
leader.
getting
They
cooked every
just
week,
respect
how
him
are you
because
gonna
he's
take
older.
his word for example? He's getting
Exactly.
cooked every week.
He's not getting cooked every week, but
Oh,
yeah,
because he
He,
doesn't
he
play.
is
My
he is
fault.
getting cooked every week.
exactly that as well. 100%.
When
He's
he plays, he gets cooked. Our defense is trash. He
Cole
does
gets cooked
not
every week because he
elevate
plays
this
every week.
team. He does not add any know-how to this team.
Tossin
it's
is our
just
best
not
defender out of all of
not
them. To
any
be at our
experienced
centre back,
person's a leader, bro.
Tossin
Like,
is probably our most consistent best centre back out of all of them, unfortunately. And yeah, that's
bro,
not good, but he
that's
is.
not saying much.
Yeah, that's not saying much, but he is unfortunate. That's not good, exactly. All right, I understand what you guys say about leader, but I don't think one leader will make any difference to this team. First of all, one will not make a difference. If you have a whole bunch of them, 100% in every sort of key position, one for the
Put
defense, one
John
for the
Terry
midfield,
in
one
the
for
put
the
John
line.
Terry in this team. He would put John Terry in this team, and we wouldn't be where we are. We would be higher
No,
up in
sorry,
the league.
Max, I don't
Yes,
agree
we
with
will.
that.
Yes, we will. Yes, we
No,
will. Yes,
no.
Look,
we
I,
will.
I'm not gonna
Definitely.
say one leader is gonna change the whole team,
One
but our
player, one
mentality will look
defender,
way different.
anything like
I
that.
try. I best believe that.
No, is he going
I
to be
keep
more vocal? But
I
is he
keep
going to get
hearing
maybe hated because he's in a
If
different
John
era
Terry was
and
in
I
this
keep
different music
team, I
too?
can guarantee you we will be doing a lot better.
Yeah, but you
I
guys
keep
have to look at
hearing
the era
our
and
fans.
who these young kids are. They're
uh,
very different from they were 30 years ago. Players, they're not
They
the
are.
same.
Look, I keep hearing our fans talk about this leader, this leader, this leader. Look,
Yeah,
the quality leaders are rare. They're not easy to come by.
very rare.
Your Silva, Thiago Silva's, even Dave Aspilicueta wasn't a great player, but he was a leader. He was a fighter. But a lot of them are now very old or
I wouldn't
can't
even say he was
play.
a strong leader,
And
Dave. To be
what
honest,
what we have to do,
You develop them. You can't.
unfortunately,
It's hard
is
to get them exactly, Bobby.
exactly
You have
we're
to develop them.
growing our own,
Yeah,
and we've got to be patient. And I just think, and I keep, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I just think our main focus has to be getting the right squad balance. This is a very, very good team. It is, but it's not got the right personnel yet. When this
yet
team, okay, look at what happened to us before Christmas, that period of time when we had squad depth. And yeah, you people can say that Maresca's figured out a bit now, but I don't think so. I think because they were fit, Fofana was fit most of the time. We had a few cameos from Lavia, and even Reece James, and the team was flying in some games. Why? Because they have that ability. Now, if we have the right squad balance, we will have an exceptional team, especially over the years. This team has to stay together for 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, even, and then we shall start to see an
yeah,
absolutely magnificent size. But if we're looking for a replica of your Thiago Silvas, your John Terrys, your Didier Drogba's. Now,
there's no
Max, you remember when we won
hmm
the um, the Premier League under Mourinho? he went and brought back a retired Didier Drogba. Now,
Yeah,
we had John Terry and all that in the team, but I
Definitely.
personally
Balak,
believe
Bob
it
Balak.
was the presence of Drogba that was coming off the bench every now and then, shouting on the bench and all that, that pushed that team forward.
speak to Eden
You
Hazard
know,
about that. Yeah,
it's rare having these sort of people. They're not a dime a dozen. You don't just go to the transfer market and say, "Oh, I'm going to pick up a leader."
Exactly.
You
You
end
can't
up
buy
with
those players
Tosin.
anymore.
You know what I mean? You end up with Tosins of this world, and he's not a bad player, but he's a player that can do a job for us in terms of squad rotation and squad depth. But he's not going to be that general. But who will be with time? Give them time. You're looking at Enzo Fernandez. You're
Hmm.
looking at Jackson in his own right. He's leading a lot in front, and you can see that from when he's not playing. And in the back
but
line,
Mhm.
we have people like Cucurella. I think is a bit of a leader,
He
but
is, yeah. Correct.
he needs time to sort of settle in and find his position. And in our centre backs, we will have a leader emerge, especially if we go back and bring home Mark Gurley. That's the one I want us to get in the summer in terms of
Yes,
centre backs.
he's a leader. Yep.
So
He's a leader,
so
yeah.
oh yeah,
I'm
oh yeah,
saying like we can build our own leaders, of course,
yeah,
he's
but
very young
would it
though.
would it hurt to have someone that could help these guys? That could, like, does it hurt us to
It
have
doesn't.
And
someone
Kishan, I
who
think
It
that
could?
is
doesn't
the plan.
hurt,
They're
but
looking at that. They
it's
are
hard
looking at
to
that,
find.
and
Yeah,
he's a top target because he's the right age as well. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's
Yeah, I'm
hard to
not
find.
saying we need a Silva. I just need we need like, you see our defense. All these dudes, they don't want to take accountability. They they're just looking at each other like, "Oh, you're supposed to be there." Like, no, guys, you guys have to own up. You guys have to step up. You guys have to play physical. Like, do we have to remind you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
yeah.
Watching Coel infuriates me, man. He just, and
Look,
then
Well,
he's gonna want to leave if we don't make Champions League. Like,
well,
bro,
if he
you're the
doesn't
reason
stay,
we're
then
not
oh,
gonna
Cole can
make
go.
it.
yeah,
Cole
you're
can go.
the reason.
he's
If that
definitely going to
happens,
want to leave. I guarantee you. If we bring it
Look,
like
Colwell.
Guehi
What's
and he
Colwell
takes his
done?
place, watch Cole will say, "I want to leave."
Colwell's disappointed me this season. Actually, he's been
but
very
he's
poor.
a kid. I think this season he's just shown his age.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, all of them.
Yeah,
Yes,
You
I
know,
know,
I
but
agree. They're
true.
all kids. That's what
yeah,
I'm just saying. Like, I can't even like go at Maresca because he's inexperienced. So like, damn, like, what is going on? Like, I feel bad for these guys, but at the same time, we need to win now. Like,
yeah.
it's just what it
yeah.
is.
It
Do
depends
you
how you
know
look
what?
at it.
I
It's all about
really think, and I hope and pray. People think it's a done deal. I don't. I think football, you've got to earn it on the pitch, and I really think that a Conference League win, even though it's a Mickey Mouse trophy, because it has some significance for us by completing the set, and it would be a trophy of sorts. I think it's going to help this
winning.
team
Yeah,
a lot.
yep.
But I
Especially for
don't
a
have
young team,
I don't have
yeah,
confidence
100%
about
winning
winning
makes
that
a
at
big
the moment.
difference. So that is very important to win that trophy,
Are you
100%.
confident about winning that? Because like
Well,
some
you
Betis are
not
decent.
really, but we have to take it a game at a time.
Uh,
It's
I'm pretty confident, Max. I'm pretty confident with that one. I
I'm not
think Europe's a little bit different. Europe is not quite the same, the European teams. Even you've got Betis, they're not really, they like to play tiki taka and this. They're not really a physical team. They're not going to pack the bus. Fiorentina and that, very similar. They'll probably be a bit more defensive, but I'm not too worried about the Conference League. I would worry more about like Ipswich or some of these Brentfords and these teams than those teams, to be honest. So no, I think we're pretty good there. I think we should definitely win it.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, and Bobby, with your point with balance, I agree. We definitely need balance on the squad. And but leadership also adds balance to the squad. This team is highly inexperienced.
I'll tell you who's a leader who's coming back, yeah, and it's Santos.
Santos as
Andre
well.
Oh
He can
yeah,
Santos.
he
play.
got it in
Yeah,
him. He definitely has it in him.
Yeah.
looks like he does have it in him. Yep, yep. He's already captaining Strasbourg, and he's a co-captain there. He's been captaining them, and you can see in the video in the locker room what he does and how he says and how he treats the players. He does the team talks. I've learned and noticed a lot. He's the one that's in the team talks and revs up the players and talks to them. So that's pretty impressive for a 19-year-old to do that already. He's definitely got that, and I think he was the Brazil under 19s captain
He
as well,
was.
wasn't
I saw that
he? Yeah,
speech. He
So
did.
he's got that DNA already. He's got that DNA. So is it tough? Is going to be tough at Chelsea? It is, because you're not going to be a 19-year-old and you can come and command Caicedo, Enzo, and this is going to be down the pecking order. It won't be the same as Strasbourg, because at Strasbourg, he's only got one or two players there. He's the other co-captain, and the rest are all younger than him or his age. A little bit different, but he's definitely got that DNA. He's got that leader DNA, which will help us in the long run, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the midfield. This our defense and attack
Midfield's
are
good. We've
just
got
horrible.
Estudio as well as the DM coming in. So we've got midfield. I think midfield's fine. I know Max doesn't think so. I think he said he's
Why
not.
do I say I don't think so? Why?
You
Why?
said earlier that coach was saying that our midfield's complete. We're pretty good there. And you said, no, no, no. I don't think our midfield is complete.
I
No,
think
no,
he
no,
meant
no, no,
at the
no, no.
at like the right now,
What
like
I
this point
said,
in time.
what I said is at the moment, it's not because we don't have enough legs in midfield. We don't have the depth. That's what I
So
meant.
we're good next season, though. Yeah.
Next season we're good if Lavia can stay healthy, and we've got that Esugu coming in. We've
Estudio. Yep.
also and we've
And
also
Santos.
got Santos. So I think
So
we'll be
we are
good.
good next season. We're good in the midfield. So
Yes, for me, I haven't got my issue was just that we just didn't have enough legs in there this season.
like backups now. Yeah, I
And
know what you
if
mean.
you look at what happened, especially the second half of the season, why we started to concede a lot of goals towards the latter part of games is because we couldn't rotate the midfield, and you saw Enzo and and Caicedo get tired, and because of that,
Yeah.
we were starting to concede a lot of goals. Yeah.
Yeah, not having that extra legs. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, guys, probably going to wrap it up now. If you guys got anything else to say before.
No. I can't hear.
So are you there? I'll be wrapped up.
Oh, got cut off. You guys there? Must have ended it.
It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd.